its weaknesses, like its timings and all of that. But I don't want to talk about it too much because Secret, they took their option and they're like, we're not doing this again. And they banned the Tiny, which I think is also nice. You know, a change of pace for the players. You just played against something that was terrifying to play against in a way, you know. And, you know, not having to play that, switching gear a bit, I think it's also a lot of comfort for players. So why not? You know, they banned the Tiny, give the Monkey, and LGD, they went for the same ban. So LG were hoping they were going to get it again, and they won't.
And Secret this time start with an IO Gyro, a combo that hasn't seen too much success in TI. Do you still have belief in it, Aoi?
I mean, for Team Secret, I think, I don't know, they haven't always been the best IO team, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I think they do see that LGD has actually already banned AA for them. I'm not too sure. I want to say that this is some character development for Puppy, banning the Tiny, because usually he always just tries to beat it again, like he'll believe in his idea. I don't know whether that's good, I don't know whether it's bad, it's just different than what I'm used to seeing out of Puppy.
Yeah, but we also haven't seen Puppy win TI in a while. I mean that as a positive thing.
Yes.
It means that, you know, he's moving forward and maybe sometimes some of the stubbornness has, you know, hold him back a little bit. And maybe now he's like, you know what, I maybe learned from some of my past mistakes and I'm going to give my team more comfort. We're banning Tiny and we're beating something else. So the AA ban that LGD was setting up for the potentially, so you have to think about LGD's first pick, so they're banning first. So they're banning AA, they're banning Invoker. When they ban AA, they don't know that Tiny is going to get banned or not. It gets banned after. Meaning the IO8 that they were planning for is very strong. It's also strong for Secret to grab. And now they end up going for the IO, first phase. The Gyro, the reason for it is it's a really good hero on lane against Monkey. It's really hard to play Monkey versus Gyro. The homing missile, you don't threaten a Gyro. Meaning that this IO Gyro and LGD has only shown Monkey 4 and Monkey 1. Now they're shutting down the Monkey 4 with the Gyro, meaning they're going to have to put this Monkey on a 1 position. And that is something that Secret has to be ready for. They have an opening of creating 2 really bad silence for Monkey to play in. And that's something that's quite interesting in this draft, and we're going to see how it's going to plan out. I want to mention the Lycan ban from Secret. I think LGD could have went Lycan 8, they decided not to, and that's also the beauty of the Gyro. Once again, this Lycan 8 is a big threat against big Lycan teams. Tiny into Lycan, very scary. Monkey into Lycan, we've seen EG run it, for instance, with a lot of success in the group stage, and that's the beauty of the Gyro pick. It's like, are you willing to pick the Lycan into the Gyro? It's, you know, good counter in the game, good counter in the lane. LGD is like, no, we're not going to Lycan, and we're going to ET instead. Once again, I think Secret's approach of the first phase is very, very solid. Just like Game 1. They're covering all the angles. They came very prepared.
So something I noticed that's interesting is that LGD is actually first pick again, and Secret are Radiant again. This means, I believe in Game 1, Secret probably picked Radiant, because in this game, LGD had choice, and they chose first pick.
Yeah.
So I always find it interesting when you have these 2 different opposing ideas. Like, it does seem like in this draft, Secret clearly think Radiant is the best, and LGD are just first pick all the way. I was just curious, like, why do you think that happens?
I mean, Radiant is very favored by teams right now because the Roche is such a big objective. And when you play Radiant and you want to play around the Roche area, you have your triangle to farm with. 2 lanes plus triangle, meaning your economy is doing great. When you're Dire and you have to play around the Roche area, you're playing away from a triangle. And you're playing, you know, in an area that's more exposed, harder to defend, the Dire jungle, and also there's less economy there. Which is why Radiant in the mid game versus Dire has a huge advantage. And which is why teams favor Radiant. Now LGD, you know, the LGD first pick has not been sold by Secret. It's understandable that they want to go first pick again. But as I said in the Game 1, it's like LGD, they have to build some sort of strategy that is too strong for Secret to counter. Else, the 2 last picks of Secret, especially in the hands of Puppy and Heen, you know, they are going to make the most out of it. And it's going to be a really hard game for LGD to play. So this is when Secret, they want to keep their options open right now with this pick. And then they're going to start, you know, countering it, like countering the LGD heroes, like, in a very hurtful way for LGD. And I think the 16 and 17 picks for LGD, the next 2, are going to be the one, it's going to be the do or break, you know? It's going to be very crucial for them to pick right.
I want to mention that I like the Kunkka ban coming off in Secret. We saw that Nothing to Say picked that up in 2 games against VP. And his Kunkka looked insane that game. And not only that, but it's actually very strong versus IO Gyro. Gyro's a hero, like, you sort of have to stand in front, commit in the fight, and you can't really commit into Kunkka bolt.
Exactly. And funny enough, it's a Puppy answer to Gyro. He was the one years ago coming up with the Kunkka versus Gyro, and it is beautiful. And you have the X versus relocate. You have a way to lock down the Gyro. You know, Wisp Gyro is a lot about movement speed abuse. They just run around the team fight, and nobody can stop them. X does it. It's a beautiful ban.
and they pick up the Wind Ranger, we saw Yapster go for some arcane boots straight into a shard, and that shard, I'm not gonna lie, it looked like one of the better shards in Dota when they were using that thing. It's positioning in Dota is so much, and that shard, it tends to expose the heroes that don't want to get exposed and just make the fight more chaotic.
No, definitely. Special mention to the Henchman too. Very good hero to protect the ET with. Poppy has shown how much troubles he can cause, and he was one of the ET was the #1 hero after the group stage, and there were teams that didn't know how to deal with it. Poppy crushed it, so that is a big ban from LGD.
In that game, Secret, they managed to put 2 side lanes where ET couldn't really lane. You had the Wind Ranger in one, the Enchantress in the other. Do you think that IO Gyro has the same effect versus ET? Is like the movement speed enough? Because usually when I think of ET, you want either make him so he can't hit you, that's usually stuns, or take off his buff, like Enchantress.
So what I'm looking, the ET is not good against IO Gyro on the lane. It's not necessarily good in certain scenarios, but it scales great. It means that no matter how big this Gyro is going to get, no matter how big the IO gets, one ET Spirit, whether it is magical damage or physical damage, they will die. And this means, this is them taking away the scaling from Secret, once again. And to me, with the Wind Ranger and the Beastmaster, now Secret is committing to something. And that's what I want to talk about. It's very interesting. So the Bane pick, Bane is about Enfeeble. I think it's the spell that people underrate a bit. Enfeeble removes 60% of damage on Gyro. It's really hard to deal with. This Gyro is going to deal no damage, and Enfeeble also reduces the healing. It's stronger than Vessel, the spell. And the cast range of it is crazy with Needlance. So this Gyro is going to have a big timing problem versus the Bane. He's going to have to kill the Bane in these fights. Of course, you have the Sleep and the Grip. Very strong laner also. Now what Secret is doing is they should be playing the map with this. Think about it. Gale Force, Wind Ranger Shard, Global Spell. Beastmaster Hawks, Relocate, Vision Advantage. It's going to be really hard for LGD to pick the right fights. Secret are going to pick fights that they consider in their favor, fair for them, and unfair for LGD. So they're kind of going away from this, 5v5 confrontation, the Wukong, press the attack, duel, ET spell. They're taking a different approach. And I like it. I like it a lot because Secret is a smart team. They're great players. If anybody can execute a different style of Dota, it is them. So now the question is, do LGD read what Secret want to play for? And do they have an answer to that?
So I want to talk a little bit about the Legion Commander pick. In my head, when I first saw it, I thought that's a bit weird. It seems very hard to teamfight into IO Gyro. Something that LOA actually mentioned to me, is Insania. He said that Monkey King is a good hero when you can get 4 hits off. I think in the last game that they ran Monkey King on Ame, they had an Oracle in that game. That allows you to get the 4 hits off. Legion's the exact same thing. You buff his attack speed, make him maybe Magic Meal and take off
the stuns from him.
Remove his stun. You get those 4 hits off. And all of a sudden, even though Legion Commander on his own, he's not supposed to be good at team fighting against IO Gyro, he has a purpose into this game. It's very clear.
It's a great Monkey King enabler. He also locks down the fight. Duel, fight is happening here. You can click Wukong on top of the duel, and you know it's not going to be a Wukong wasted. Great Monkey enabler. And that's also what LGD excels at. It's like they understand how to make a hero, in this case Monkey King, or how to make, in the other game, a Tiny, really shine. They understand what the weaknesses are of the hero, and they know how to counter, to make up for these weaknesses. But now Secret is taking a completely different approach. It's like, you want to bring this monkey to critical mass? We're not fighting into this monkey until we decide that it is a good fight. Which is also why, intuitively you can second guess the beast pick. You can be like, why would you pick Roar into press the attack, into sleep? It doesn't make any sense. Legion counter beast. But it's not about that. They're looking at the map, they're looking at the vision advantage. They're not looking at this terrifying 5-on-5 that LGD has been playing game after game. So now I'm very curious to what the Secret last pick is going to be. I think you can either add up on top of it, but I would also say that there's a route where you already realize with Beast, with Gale Force, it's called, I think, the winner in the shard. With Relocate, you already have enough tools to cheat the game a little bit in the right way. I don't mean that in a negative way, right? To cheat the game. And then maybe you want Nisha to also be a hero that can kind of stabilize in a way. At some point you will have to take fights to win the game.
I think definitely some damage, right? You have all these global tools, but I think a hero that really solidifies that, you'll have vision, you have mobility advantage on the map, maybe some map presence, which I think is what Secret's good at, really good at in Dota. So I'm glad they're drafting this style.
Yeah.
They go for Ursa. So this is damage. So it's Gyrocopter mid, Ursa?
Yeah, it looks like
Carry, it looks like?
Definitely. Okay. It looks like something like that. Very interesting. They get really early timings, the Secret heroes. Ursa is going to force the Roche fight early. If they consider that this Gyro has a great lane against the Leshrac, and they have the Wisp, and Beastmaster hits through super early timings, right? Hawks early, Helm of Dom, much more useful than a Legion after the laning phase. If this Gyro, they consider he has a really good lane to the Leshrac, I hope so, right? They decided to put him there. He also hits crazy timings. It's going to be Gyro super high level, a lot of gold, playing with a Wisp. The Wisp might even play with the Gyro instead of the Ursa. they're going to force the Roche fight. Can the LGD heroes take the Roche fights that early? It's hard for Lesh to play into a Beastmaster that early in the game when you have no items, you have mana or going to, to your rules or whatever. Very hard for the Monkey, the same. These heroes are slow on LGD. I love the secret route. I think it's much more closer to their identity and what they have shown so far leading up to their matchup against LGD. Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this game because I think this could easily be a 1-1 if the lanes are stable and if Secret get what they, they just showed a great Dota card. I love it.
I completely agree. I think just in terms of the draft plan, like Ursa, LGD, they plan for Monkey King with the Legion Savon. I think Ursa is actually one of the only carries who can punch through that.
Yeah.
Like Secret, if they find the right engagement now, their damage comes in really quick. It's hard for LGD to get all their heroes there. They're going to be more spread out on the map because Secret will force them around. I think that suits Secret really well.
And you have a great point too. The Ursa can scale into the Monkey.
And now we're going to have to hear from the coach of LGD, CL8, who's standing on the sidelines with Frankie.
I do have Xiaoba here, and I've got one question for him, which is you are one game away now from making it to the grand finals of TI10. What did you say to the boys before you headed out here for your second draft of the game?
再赢一把就能进总决赛了。出来之前有跟队员们说什么吗？
我们的目标不仅是进总决赛，我们是来拿冠军的。
Our goal is not just getting into the grand finals. Our goal is to take the Aegis home.
Well, you know what? There's quite a lot of people who think you have a very high chance of doing that. Thank you so much, Xiaoba. Good luck. Let's head over to Synderen and Sunsfan.
Thank you, Frankie. Sunsfan here with Synderen. Game 2, LGD versus Secret in this upper bracket finals. Winner secures himself top 2, Synderen, and into the grand finals seat as we're seeing a ton of high fives. Great work all around. Great teamwork. I love this. This is what makes Dota great. Now get first blood, for God's sake.
All right, I'm going to try to see who got most high fives. I'm the analyst here. I need to look at the numbers.
Sure.
Looks like Nisha was on the receiving end of 6. Yapsor was in 6. All right.
You got to love the sportsmanship.
7.
This match, this specific game
8. All right, now Nisha's ahead.
is worth millions of dollars. Okay? Millions.
And
I don't know if you know
the grand
this.
finals.
I already said
No
that, but
less.
thank you. Secret on the brink of being taken down to the lower bracket if PSG LGD can get this win. Looking at the lineups here, Synderen, do you agree with the panel?
Yeah, I think Secret's lineup is very... In a way, it's similar to the last game in the sense of what Secret should be trying to do timing-wise, but the way they get there is totally different. So last game, we were like, okay, Secret, you're going to hit this like minute 15, you want to start taking fights, etc., but they never really managed to be able to fight into LGD from a team fight perspective. This time around, they're going to try to play fast as well, but they do it in a different manner. They're going to be splitting the map more. They're going to try to find pickoffs in side lanes with Beastmaster with Shackle Shot into relocates.
Yeah.
They have a really good core matchup in the Ursa against Monkey King and Legion Commander. They have a way of killing Roche's Radiant with Beastmaster Ursa. There's just a lot of good things, and honestly, when it comes to Secret in this tournament, I think in many ways their best hero has been Matumba Man on that Ursa. They've had a lot of really great wins, so when it's crunch time here and they have to get a W here, I think it's a very great choice for them to try to go for this. And I think LGD weren't expecting this last pick Ursa. They were, you see IO Gyro, it's very easy to default into mode, oh, that's IO Gyro carry. But Nisha is one of the players that does play this mid once in a while. So I think maybe a little bit of an element of surprise favoring Secret as well here. That said, though, LGD's lineup is very stable. Strong team fight, good scaling, and all of the things that 7AUI talked about with enabling Monkey King are very much true here.
I mean, Secret had to ban Tiny, they had to ban Magnus. That leaves Elder Titan open, that leaves Monkey King open, as Ame is going to be playing that position 1 this time around. Yapsor taking some damage. I want to talk about mid lane again, though, Synderen. Gyro versus Lesh. Who wins this lane? Not one we get to see too often.
I would feel like just instinctively that Lesh is favored here, especially when he starts hitting level 3 and level 5 for just the Lightning Storm harass. Gyro is a short-range carry, so in order for him to go and get CS, he needs to expose himself to taking that damage. Leshrek's base armor isn't the best, though, so Flat Cannon can make a difference in this lane if Nisha even goes to skill it at all. He might just go max out the other 2 spells and play this a little bit Thompson style with the more aggressive roaming way of playing here, but yeah, I do overall like Lesh here a bit more, I have to say. But for now, they're pretty even. As a matter of fact, Nisha is actually pulling a bit ahead on the first waves.
Yeah, he's off to a pretty good start. I mean, I guess from his perspective, as long as you just tie the lane, I guess. Maybe that's the goal. I don't know, but we'll see what the rotations come out in this early game for Team Secret. Although you do have an IO, so that's not really a ganking potential. I guess Yapzor is the one person that could try to set something up on this Wind Ranger.
Nightmare.
Yep, Nightmare into nothing, though. It's just going to delay things, trying to take out this boar, as Zai will have to deny it himself. But the Courier, okay. Looks like Yapzor is able to clean that one up.
It's something that's worth keeping in mind about the Bane against Beastmaster matchup in lane, is that Bane is actually relatively good at killing the boars. If you find an angle to get in behind, you have a lot of damage, and you trade really well. And killing boars might sound like a small thing, but these, they give a lot of experience in gold if you manage to get them. That time around, though, Zai did get the deny. But it is something that WIB will very much be looking for in the lane. Even if you don't kill the boars, as long as you force them out, realistically that should result in less farm for the offlane Beastmaster. And it's relatively safe to do it. And hold on now, he could be in a bit of trouble here. Yapzor might find an angle. He doesn't have Shackle Shot, so what would he find an angle for? Good question, Suns fan. Angle for the power shot, I guess.
Angle for the right click.
Yes,
that's the correct answer.
Very good angle. Does more damage from
you know, don't spread
degrees.
Misinformation. This is how it starts, Cinder, and it snowballs from there.
Yep.
But bot lane, I can see Matu, like you said, playing the Ursa. And, I mean, the mid lane still, I mean, I would say it's relatively even. A lot more denies going the way of Nisha, though. Is the homing missile coming for nothing to say? Yapzor comes in as well. The homing missile connects, but the Splitter follows suit as well. Rocket Barrage doing so much damage in this early game. Nothing to say. Forced to go to the other side. Nisha not quite in range to actually finish him off, though, so nothing to say. Gonna be able to get to the high ground successfully. Gets off the split earth, but he's kind of stuck here. He doesn't even have mana. Has to deny himself to these creeps. Yeah, so still wasting a lot of time. That's 20 seconds.
And that might have looked like a really weird gank. This is a level 2 Wind Ranger TPing mid, but Wind Run, even level 1, is very nice for kills. Like this is the 15% slow for Gyros to just keep running down the Lesh. The extra bit of right-click damage on the power shot was enough to at least force the deny. And like you said, yeah, he doesn't give the gold over to Nisha, but this is like a full free wave plus all the wasted time of the Lesh. Effectively, Nisha is now very far ahead in that mid lane. Closing in on level 5.5. So when he gets level 6, I think we could see Yapzor maybe even move into mid again. Yeah. And that time around, nothing to say will not be able to pull off what he just did.
Yeah, Matu gonna chase Faith Beyond, but Jinkyu with that Elder Titan, very hard to fight into with that Echo Stomp ability. I mean, okay, so for Nisha, because I haven't gotten to see a ton of games on him playing this mid Gyro, is the build, is it any different than position 1 Gyro? Do you still, I mean, Io gets a choice, I guess, later game who he wants to actually attach to, but what about the build overall?
I don't know what he wants to do in this game. I think there's different approaches to it. You can go more of a carry style build with the Dragon Lance build up, but you can also either look for something like Diffusal, or you could look for even a spellcasting build with Veil E-Blade, which I think we've seen Topson play sometimes in the past. But bottom line, Puppy is just getting mauled!
Oh my god! First blood goes the way of PSG LGD. Jinkyu with the briefcase. He has definitely come to play, Cinderin. But I mean, you have to give up something, right? We talked about the Tiny and Magnus. Elder Titan has been extremely strong and been banned in a lot of games as well.
That is a pretty nasty lane synergy when you think about it. Just giving Elder Titan all that attack speed. Easy kill for him. Onto Puppy. Will TP mid. Refill a little bit here. They're going to try to contest the bottom rune against NTS, but Shackle almost latching. They will get the haste here, though. Nice for Nisha. This is a really good rune on Gyro mid.
Yeah.
With that 3 points in Rocket Barrage, he has a great amount of chase down potential onto any hero in the game right now.
Nothing to say. About to hit level 6 here with the next creep, as long as it's not denied. But you can see the level advantage going the way of Nisha, of course. But Matu, with that rotation, kind of has to play a little bit safe in the bot lane.
Puppy will deny the bounty as well. And now he's in trouble, potentially. We'll look for a tether onto Gyro. We'll get it here. Okay. Nisha with the haste means Puppy also has haste. Fun for the whole family.
That's right.
They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, you could just try to bait some TPs potentially, but Y is making his rotation over through the river here, level 3 on this Bane Elemental. And, sorry, just Bane now.
Yep.
The Elemental was deleted from his name, sadly. As he's still working on his boots here. Faith Beyond playing the Legion Commander this time around. Have some great dispel options with the homing missile, with the roar, of course. Can't dispel fury swipes, but which more so a thing in the laning stage, I suppose, as All right, mid lane, why? You said made his rotation, but Puppey gonna heal up Nisha pretty nicely here. As the 8-minute rune will be up for 40 seconds. Matu in the meantime has to pop his Enrage. Yapzor TP's here as well.
I was just about to say Matu's doing so great in this lane. He's level 6 against level 4 Legion, but 1v2, they still just absolutely crush him with this Elder Titan with Press the Attack. It's gonna get eyes on each other here. Yapzor will see Jin Q.
Yep.
Well, he's running it through 3 heroes here, that Spirit. So would hit very hard if he had a target, but...
I mean, is there a point with Matu just tries to go into the jungle, getting like a Morbid Mass, something like that? Or, I guess with Puppey here, can just get his
finding Yapzor here, he's gonna need to wind run this.
Yep. 8-minute rune.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It is top lane.
Yeah, we've not even talked about Ame this game. There's a Monkey King in this game.
That's true.
He's just free farming. The lane matchup is obviously very good against the Beastmaster, so he's level 7.5 against Zai's level 5, measly level 5, and it's because Yapzor has made these moves. In particular, the mid first attempt onto Leshrac obviously comes at a cost. As playing Beastmaster against Monkey Bane is absolutely terrifying.
Having said that, when you get to mid to late game as Matu, going to be forced out here. There's nothing to say. He's made his transition over. Level 7 now on that Leshrac. Yapzor in the vicinity as well, but I believe they know he's here. Diabolic Edict with that Pulse Nova going to work. Nothing to say. He's going to get initiated on by Matu. But the Press the Attack takes off the Shackle. Matu has to take or use his Enrage now to just back off. So they've expended quite a few resources, but do defend the tower. But playing Beastmaster against Monkey King, especially in its position 1, just axes with the vision to take down the trees. That could have huge implications in this match. As this tier 1 tower looking to be taken out by PSG LGD. Echo Stomp not going to connect Matu. Oh, Shackle, but the Press the Attack again to dispel that. Nice sidestep by Matu. Sidestep that Split Earth. There's nothing to say, just getting chased now. One more right click will do it. Down he goes, and Nisha's made his transition here as well. So a nice 2-for-1 special for Secret.
Yeah, great sidestep from Matu, like you said. Very important that that Split Earth doesn't connect. It gives him the confidence to chase them down. And I believe he was tethered the whole time as well, so giving him that little bit of extra attack and move speed that he needs to get that Lesh kill completed. With Gyro rotating as well, you do defend the tower. You did a lot of damage to it though as PSG LGD. You took down about 85% of it or something like that. Mid lane Nightmare.
Yeah, we got the Nightmare, but nice. Split Earth, yeah. Nightmare's taken off by Puppey, very nicely done. Here comes the call down, trying to get the kill onto Y instead now. He gets the Brain Sap off, here comes the Echo Stomp. Another sidestep from Nisha, leads to a kill for Secret. And Nisha working on, I believe that was a Diffusal Blade. So going for the Diffusal Blade into Ags, I would assume. And maybe we'll see a Diffusal Blade on Ursa as well, I don't know, but a lot of mana drain against this Leshrac.
Diffusal is a good item against Monkey King in a lot of situations, I think, for Gyro. You know, you get the nice mana burn, the slowdown, so you can chase him down when you're in a favorable position, and you can create distance when you're not. Then you just diffuse him and run away. So I definitely see a lot of value in that here for Nisha. Yep. Bottom lane pressure is going to be applied again by PSG LGD. Secret will give up the tower this time. Not interested in going there.
Ooh! Pretty close, actually.
Did he just solo him?
He did, indeed. Wait, top net worth for Ame.
How did Ame solo him? I didn't see that.
He just right-click him. It was actually pretty simple.
Okay, so Puppey was trying to ward, I'm assuming, and had nobody to tether to?
Yep, slightly out of position. Okay. But top lane looking to be taken out now by Secret, as the bot lane has already been given up. So it's going to be essentially evened up on towers now. And Matu, yeah, he is working on Diffusal as well, so going to see a lot of mana burn this game. Which means BKB for Nothing to Say is going to be ultra important. Going for the Yules first to set up his own Split Earth. It's going to be fun casting these fights with Split Earth and Earth Splitter. Yeah, sure that won't get screwed up
Finding
at all.
a 50% chance every time.
Yep, 50-50.
It's not bad.
Jin Q working on a drums. Okay. Not an item we get to see very often anymore, but I love it.
Yeah, and this was going to happen in this game.
Really?
Secret will get the Roche with Ursa Io. Yeah, so about the drum, I think the way LGD are thinking about this is they need to squeeze every little bit of move speed and attack speed out of this game that they can, because it's going to be like a brawl once fights eventually break out. like Secret will try to look, as we talked about, they'll try to find these pickoffs around the map, and with any sort of movement speed bonus you can give your team, maybe you can reset away from these dangerous situations, or you can, you know, just reset in general. Creating distance between yourself and the Secret lineup is very, very useful. It's Ursa, it's Gyro, they want to run you down over extended periods of time. And there's multiple heroes in his team that really benefit from the attack speed. Legion Commander in the duel, Monkey King, like Seb and AUI talked about, get those 4 hits, right?
Zai running into an invisible, nothing to say, but Matu gets the enrage off to try to go for Y instead, but there's the Fiend's Grip. It's not going to last very long thanks to that status resist. Zai was already taken out, so it's a 1-for-1. As you can see, Nisha hooked up with Puppey right now. Trying to create some space in this enemy jungle, so looks like it'll end at a 1-for-1, but definitely in favor of PSG LGD.
And one more thing, just to finish off on the whole drums thing. Xingqiu is building his Elder Titan as a true, I don't want to call it true position 4, but I think you get what I mean when I say that. Like
he's getting Ags after this,
he's doing damage, okay? He's not gonna, he hasn't even skilled his aura yet on level 7. He's going 2-4-0, just really wants to get that Astral Spirit in there and get in and deal damage. There's a lot of value to having high level Spirit here, get all that armor and just go in and draw attention away from your Lesh. And I think the way LGD think about it is, well, if we send in all of our heroes in full force, Secret might be able to kill one, but it's going to come at a cost. You can't ignore an Elder Titan that has level 4 Astral Spirit running through your team.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Nice check
definitely
from
a beast.
Look it out.
That's true, though. A lot of position 4s you can kind of ignore to some degree. As we see
it.
the vault ability used by Y, but he can't jump high enough to get out of this. So down he goes to Matu. And the relocate will likely just bring them back to their original location, which is mid. So a little baby blink here into the tier 1 tower. Have the Alpha Wolf available for the extra damage.
They're going to give it up.
And
nice play from Secret.
All right. So very even game to start this. Although last game kind of started the same way, and it was really Ame's Tiny that started to really create the separation, as we talked about ad nauseum.
It doesn't feel like there's going to be as much of an unbeatable carry this game for Secret to face, though.
Is that because Tiny's not in the game?
That is a really big part of it. Okay. They will, of course, still buff him up with ET, with the drum, with press the attack, with a natural order eventually, but at least for now, Secret are in a pretty good position in this game. Unfortunately for them, not really seeming to be able to get very much value out of the Aegis. At least they got them the mid-tier 1, but I bet they would love to be able to get a little bit more with this, like find a fight with Relo, or maybe get some top tower damage, or even the full tower, but it's not looking very likely right now with the way LGD are pushing out the waves.
Matu's Diffusal on the way. Nisha, his Diffusal on the way, so they're going to have double Diffuse to work with Cinderin. And I'm assuming BKBs will be coming right afterwards. And for the side of PSG LGD, I mean, what items are important for them this game? Obviously the Blink Dagger for the Legion is probably one of the most important ones, but I would assume Nothing to Say has to go for, I mean, is it a BKB right after Yules, or do you need to, I mean, once he sees these Diffusals come out, it's going to hurt him.
The 2 BKBs are definitely huge. I think Elder Titan's Ags, something further down the line, will be insanely powerful this game as well. Xingqiu going to try to stall this tower push with a good stomp.
Yeah, with the overwhelming odds as well, but
they still have to glyph if they want to hold, and they will.
So Secret will back up as a result. Only 50 seconds left on the Aegis, so they don't want to overextend here, because despite going against the Elder Titan, they will have the Roche advantage for the majority of this game.
Matsu's taking some pretty serious damage here. We'll have to back off there a bit. And I wonder if PSG LGD are trying to stall for the Aegis to expire and that they actually want to fight. Like we've talked about, Secret's lineup is more eager to take fights that are a little bit more scrappy, a little more skirmish-like in nature, where they get to split the enemy team apart. And LGD would love to play more tight-knit together around this Elder Titan Leshrac combination. So Secret will yield and not try to force the issue, and they will lose their Aegis here as a result without really getting too much out of it. Well, they're somewhat sticking around. Now, out we go. To the mid lane.
All right. Now that we have a little bit of downtime, Cinderin, trivia time for you.
Oh, no.
What's the active of Diffusal? We've had this conversation before.
Oh, I have answered this correctly in the past.
Yep. Don't hover over it. Don't do it, Observer. You can do it, Cinderin.
Why can't I remember this?
Diffusal Blade slow. What is it?
I forgot.
Inhibit.
Inhibit, yes.
One of the greatest names of all time. One that you would never guess.
I got a quick one for
dictionary.
you. What's the active of Trusty Shovel?
Dig.
Good.
Get wrecked. All right, now we can put this.
That was very hard.
Now we can put this terrible segment to bed as this is the upper bracket final, Cinder. Stop going off topic. For God's sake, we got the BKB now online.
Not bad, I guess.
For Ame as he takes apart his Echo Saber, so we'll likely just finish that again.
Yep.
What is the item for him that really helps him take off?
Oh, that's the BKB.
In his position 1. I mean, past the BKB. Like, what would the next item be after Echo Saber? So we've seen a little bit of variation.
Yeah.
And we don't see Ags anymore either on this hero.
There's a couple of approaches. Sometimes I think Deso can be really good. Sometimes AC. Sometimes Scotty. I would imagine he gets one of those 3 this game. There is maybe a case to be made for a Butterfly. You're playing against Ursa, Gyro, and Windranger.
Sure.
So maybe, but the Windranger's like flat out full support build. So don't think you consider her too much of a threat.
Why being spotted out here? You can see the Wukong's command from afar. Ame is going to force out the Enraged Matu. And Secret on full retreat. So ulti for ulti. One has a considerably lower cooldown.
Yep.
So we'll see if Secret can try to take advantage of that or not. And, I mean, they have a lot of tree killing capabilities, so being on the trees in general for Ame is pretty risky this game. You got the Windranger, you got and the axes from Beastmaster as well. You see now a smoke. All right, Secret looking to get active here.
Doesn't look all that likely that they find a skirmish, though. This is likely going to turn into a 5v5 with the Roar. They are thinking about going for Nothing to Say, who has already pushed out the wave and is on his way back into the jungle. If he goes and farms this hard camp, he's probably dead, actually.
Yep. Nisha, not quite the vision, but they see the Pulse Nova, the Vault from the Horsey. Not enough to catch up, though. The homing missile will end up connecting, but you have reinforcements from PSG LGD. Nightmare save.
What an insane read from Nothing to Say that was. It's one thing that he avoids the gank, but he even started a little bit on the big camp before he backed off. And ran back through small.
Now we have a full team smoke from PSG LGD.
Yeah, because now they know where Secret are. So now
but they're scanned.
Yep, they're
Secret
scanned
does
out.
scan them successfully. The courier apparently didn't get the memo, but is going to be left alive, apparently.
They can follow it on the way to Zai, though.
Yeah, all right. They actually auto-attack at once, and Zai doesn't really notice. Faith Beyond jumps in with that Blade Mail and the duel. This is going to lead to his first victory of the game. As the Echo Stomp does connect, but not sure if PSG LGD want to pursue any further. Ame on the trees. And the power shot again, scaring him away. So nice duel victory there for Faith Beyond.
Yeah, that looked kind of strange. It looked like Secret with that scan had figured out exactly what was coming, and they all backed off, and they still ended up having Zai a little bit stranded.
Yeah, Nothing to Say has been inhibited, but another save on the homing missile. So another Blink Dagger being built here from YapzOr, still pretty far away, but we're starting to see a lot of these core items come online.
Shannon, I gotta say,
yes,
Nightmare, one of the most satisfying abilities to use in the game.
Really?
It is so
Do you have
nice.
like a quota that like once per day you have to say that?
I'm hired by Valve.
Okay,
to make the game look good, and it's a good spell. I gotta say,
one of the most satisfying passives in the game is Philosopher's Stone. Boy, every second just feels so good. Nothing to Say, getting some jungle time right now, but see, Matu gets back into the Boundless Strike. He's gonna get healed though for the meantime. Popsy and Rage. You can see the duel go off, but not a whole lot of damage to follow. As Faith Beyond is able to scurry away in his pick form. They're gonna stop the Fiend's Grip in its tracks. Ame's already popped his BKB. Roche at half health.
Nice reset out from Secret here. They managed to lose absolutely nobody in that. Their Ursa was so low health when this whole thing started. LGD, are you actually going to try your luck with Roche? There's no way, right? No, they're just clearing out the pit from the Hawk.
Yep, and Rage up in 20 seconds, so Matu, of course, he does have Puppey on his team to help save. So he can play a little bit more aggressive since some of these BKBs are down for PSG LGD.
No Roar, no reload for Secret, so any catch now for LGD is big. They don't have their saves available this time.
And Earth Splitter, which is one of the biggest things in this Roche fight, is down for a long time.
Yep. And Xingqiu even has no mana. He's back in base.
Yep, homing missile forcing Y back. He's going to get slowed. And trying to create as much space as possible. There's the Gale Force. Nothing to Say has to pop his BKB. The Legion Commander's dead. Nothing to say, getting pursued by Nisha, creating as much space as possible for Matu to get not only the Aegis, but the Shard as well. They're continuing to pursue here. Nisha, at the very least, they'll get Y. That's going to be an easy one, but looks like nothing stays a little bit too fast. Jin Q in the meantime, though, Rocket Barrage is there, trying to take out Puppey, but the juking around the trees, the high five will not be reciprocated. Jin Q into the base he goes. He's just so fast. Well, Matu, there's the inhibit into the kill, Cinderin. Huge inhibit play from Matu.
Love the way that Secret set all of that up. They just take full advantage of the key cooldowns on LGD's side. And they go in for the Roche simultaneously. Gyro is effectively zoning off 2 heroes. And the first use of Gale Force. What a beautiful cast there from YABSOR.
That is a really good shard, by the way.
Yeah, it is really good.
Global ability. Man, that's...
Yeah. It's one of the most satisfying spells to use in the game.
From a viewer perspective, I can't deny you that one. As you see the heat map here for YABSOR. Oh, Faith Beyond jumping in with that blade mail. That's going to be a dual victory for him. As Matu working on this tier 2 top.
It is going to be a Maelstrom now for Ame. Not going for the Skadi or Deso. We'll be getting the more... I'm not sure what I want to call this, like mixed damage, a little bit more farm-heavy item. Obviously, it is amazing for his ult. There's no denying that. And it is completed now. So basically more spread damage, right? If you place a good Wukongs, you do a lot of spread damage with the Maelstrom. It is pretty standard. It was one of the items I forgot to mention when I went over all the options that he had. So definitely another good choice here. And a very close game once again. But it feels like this time Secret have... There's a little more potential for winning this game. Like, it's basically neck and neck, but there's not... I don't know about you, I don't get the same feeling that, in 10 minutes, all hell is going to break loose, right?
Well, because there's no Tiny.
Yeah, but
We've had this conversation.
It's not just that, though. It's also
Gale Force on the Jin Q, being brought back into the force of the Primal Roar. Nice kill there for Secret. Easy pickoff indeed. Matu gets off the defusal. Faith Beyond just continuing to get right-clicked away. The bash connects as well. Into the Piggy, though. Pig pull. Will it work again? Earth Shock. A couple more right clicks will suffice, but TPs are coming. And that is Ame, the monkey versus the bear, getting up some nice right clicks on the Matu. Stuff the Earth Shock with... All right, that's the Aegis. Down he goes inside the Wukong's command now. Yep, no Io with that ult available. Matu might just be left to die here. And indeed, he does. So a little bit over-aggression there from Matu.
Yeah, I think it just took him way longer to chase that than he was expecting. Again, pig pull, so amazing. Just really changing things up there. Bought an extra couple of seconds, I think, for Faith Beyond. And at that point,
a month
Matu
ago, that would have been a
very
sarcastic comment.
Yeah.
And by a month ago, I mean like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me today.
Hell yeah.
Cinderin. Puppey's getting some farm in the jungle in the meantime. Nisha has his Dragon Lance, is now going for Aghanim Scepter. I thought that this would have been purchased a little bit earlier, but...
Yeah, opted for the... Yeah, with the Dragon Lance, I guess you want the safety against perhaps, you want a little bit more distance against Legion Commander, against Elder Titan, and most importantly, against the Monkey King Ring. It gives you more options to hit from outside that. Not to mention, of course, the stats on this item still very good. 16 agility, 12 strength is pretty good value for what you pay.
Yep, for sure. Matu getting help from Puppey in the jungle now. We already saw the Basher, and BKB is next on the menu for him. And I feel like a lot of these fights, Cinderin, are going to come down to, I mean, not the most uncommon thing, but Roche is so important.
Yeah.
And I think it's more so if PSG LGD are able to deny Roche from Secret. That is the biggest deal, as opposed to, because with this entire plan in mind, we're assuming Secret's getting every Roche for the most part, right?
Yeah, it's the most likely thing. I think one of the really good things about denying Roche from Secret is then that Secret don't get it. I agree.
Jin Q, Gale Force, he's able to walk it off. Just like,
it
looks like me when there's a lot of wind, just trying to waddle away.
Are you trying to win the awkward contest or what? I concede. I concede. Yeah, it is true though, in all seriousness. It's more important for LGD that Secret don't have it than that they have it themselves. It is an amazing Aegis carrier in the Leshrac, of course, but I think Secret's offensive plays in this game very much come down to Matsu's ability to play almost over-aggressively. and he needs the Aegis to be able to do that consistently in fights. So, yeah, LGD. I have a feeling they'll try to contest the next one. Honestly, they did try to contest the second one, really. Yeah. But they didn't get enough out of the initial contest that they tried to do, and then they got punished even when they were looking at it a little bit more afterwards by Secret just playing a really good two-front play.
I mean, it's not easy to deny them the Roche, but no. I mean, the two main abilities are Astral Spirit with the ult from Elder Titan, and then obviously Wukong's command, which last time the Earth Splitter was on cooldown. So that was the biggest reason probably for them to concede it, as Jin-Q is still working on that Ags. Not super far away, about 1,600 from finishing that. So that'll give them the spell immunity every time the Astral Spirit comes back based on how many heroes it's hit.
Yep. The theme of the game here for LGD seems to be magic immunity, right? 2 BKB Chorus, they have to press the attack shard, they get the Elder Type Axe. Alright.
Gale Force, Shackle immediately dispelled, but the homing missile will not be, Cinderin. Will not be denied its very satisfying sound of dink. Oh. Nisha. 2,000 away from Ags for himself, so that gives him the double attack essentially. Which, with Diffusal, can be pretty strong considering... I mean, we saw, what was that, Thompson, Gyro originally getting that against Bristleback in the finals of one of the TIs against Weehaw when he was on Team Liquid.
Yep. The downside for Secret right now is the bad news is you've bought these 2 Diffusals and they are going to fall off in value against more stat-heavy items, right? Especially when you're playing against multiple magic immunity sources, as we've already covered. A little bit of a dive bomb on the way out. Says hello to nothing to say. So looking at it just strictly from a net worth perspective, I think Secret's net worth has less value right now, unfortunately for them, against LGD Duel. Didn't find it.
He's going to get stopped in his tracks for now. But the BKB is forced out, but there's the Fiend Script to follow. Can they get the bash on the wide? First hit bash is there. Bane ends up dying, but the next big duel onto the Ursa, and down goes Matu. Inside that Wukong's command.
Puppey has to reload him out there on the gyro. Oh, they missed the stun.
Comes back in, hooking up to Nisha, who gets off his call down. Nothing to say, already popped his BKB, so not a whole lot of damage. Coming out of Nisha himself. And the right clicks from Jin-Q are nothing to be scoffed at, as Zai stuck inside his own Gale Force here. He gets dropped. Yaps are trying to get nothing to say at the very least. He'll do so. But again, the boundless strike from Ame. Nisha gets up the Diffusal Blade onto Ame. We have a couple buybacks from Secret. Shackle actually connects, but a huge press the attack. And Ame still being pursued by this homing missile. Looks like he's good to go, though. So a couple buybacks end up being wasted here for Secret. At least they get a collateral kill here on Jin-Q. Okay. Well,
he is very fast.
He is quite fast. Pops the drums, press the attack, has the spider legs. Very difficult to catch people for Secret here. And I feel like this Blink Dagger is going to be a huge deal on Zai. And he's about 100 away from getting that. Like, they have no initiation right now other than Gale Force, really.
Honestly, ironically, I said it doesn't matter that that Boundless Strike missed on the IO. It made a huge difference. Puppey actually managed to reset out of that a little bit and delay the fight, and Secret with the buybacks managed to somewhat salvage that, so they only lost the Ursa as their core. But just as good as that was, the disengage from LGD, that could have gone way worse with the circumstances they were in, but a good save across the board with the Legion Commander press, the stomp, and Jin-Q to disengage. And most importantly for them, Roshan is not spawning yet. This is a 2-minute respawn. They obviously don't know this, but imagine Rosh was up right now. Secret could have maybe even looked for it with Leshrac on the sidelines, but not an option for now. As this Rosh is almost maximum respawn time, obviously being 11 minutes. I think this one respawns after like 10:40, just looking at the clock here, 10:45. So that's good news for LGD fans out there. I think they're happy with slower Rosh spawns right now because Secret's time, it's better than last game. I feel like time is running out slower, but LGD have still weathered the storm very, very well here. And I'm hard pressed in this patch in situations like this to go against Elder Titan late game. It's just incredible how big of a difference this makes. He now has the Ags and Spider Legs, so he's going to run in with haste, go on top of any enemy core and remove all of their base armor. So for Gyro, that's 27. For Ursa, it's 17. None of these heroes have any plus armor items. They're going to be literally taking pure damage from the Monkey King, from the Legion Commander, from Edict, from Elder Titan himself, who could honestly just almost solo the Gyro. So that's a very, very concerning thing that Secret have to find a way to deal with.
Radiant's top
As
tower
now they're
is
probably
under
also going to have to deal with the fact that their top
Radiant
tower is
structures
disappearing.
are
They will try to get one of their own bottom, which looks to be successful here for Nisha.
They're going to trade and they're going to smoke. Yeah, relocate is available for Puppey here. It's Nisha. You can see his Aghanim Scepter is done.
Nothing to say.
Okay. Shackle shot. Press the attacks not in range. Finally gets it off. The Gale Force to follow Zai. Trying to look for the roar. Does so successfully, but the Force Staff into the other side of the cliff. Nothing to say he's going to live as a result. Matu trying to finish off. Nothing to say. Will he get away? Wukong's command is placed as well. Nisha kind of stuck inside. He's taking so much damage. It's a 1 for 2. Nothing to say. It's still alive. Finally! Finally, Secret can expel that disgusting demon from the depths of Dota. The bash onto Jin Q. This is going to be another kill going the way of Matu. Double kill for him. Double buyback from PSG LGD as well.
Yeah, they want to protect the Roche. They know that maximum spawn timer is coming up, so Secret will get it for free if they don't have heroes, but I think they're still just going to get it for free. You're 5-on-3. Secret looking to invade first. It has spawned now. They didn't see that, but obviously if they've kept track of it, they know it's coming up now, and the App Store will see it. And they're going to go for Roche after taking this outpost, you would imagine. Really great catch onto the Lesh. He was not expecting the smoke gank, clearly. They saved him for so long, but nothing to say can't. That Force Staff is clutch. And then the Grip buying the space, but it means Y will die. Nothing to say, has to run away the entire fight, can't fight back. Eventually does get caught, killed. And
such a long chase on Nothing to Say.
Aegis and Cheese going the way of Secret here. Huge.
Aegis, Cheese, and Refresher Shard, actually. Which I would assume goes to Beastmaster.
Yeah, sure.
Zai with double roar. I mean, really good patience from Zai, waiting for the press the attack before getting off the roar himself.
Yep. And
kind of unlucky for PSG LGD that Faith Beyond wasn't really in range to. I mean, he was pretty close, but the tree line area that they were at did not allow him the cast point to be able to actually get that off in time.
Yeah, it took him very long to connect.
And it was an immediate Yules right after.
Yeah. Secret had an exact plan for what they were going to do there. To connect on and finish that kill. So 3k gold, Aegis Cheese Refresher, big swing here for Secret. For the first time in 10 minutes, they are favored by the win probability by a measly 53% to 47.
Wow.
But this is a very important fight coming up. Nisha has a double damage rune. He has to get dueled here by Faith Beyond. Onisha's going to kill them all off. Let's see if they've even noticed he has it. He is rocking the bottle, so showing it on the tower. If anyone had clicked him there, they would know.
Yeah. And he still has Aegis for 3.5 minutes. Everything online now for both respective teams. The tier 2 tower will fall. PSG LGD kind of biding their time here.
Yeah. I think ideally they want to try to outlast the Aegis if they can. Fighting into Secret now is really hard. Double damage on the gyro. Sure, you've got the armlet on Lesh. Or, armlet, yeah, right. Halberd.
Love to see that.
Yeah, great item. He's got the Halberd on Lesh against the Ursa primarily, but there's still the amount of damage is just going to be overwhelming with the gyro Aghanims, so double damage.
And going high ground won't. I mean, even with this Aegis, it's still going to be pretty difficult. It's against an Elder
really
Titan. I don't think Nothing to Say has Shard, but if he were to get it, that would provide a lot of space to be able to try to defend these towers. He did buy it?
Yeah, he has it. So
now we're going to see the Split Earths. Infinity. Oh, Gale Force is there. Nothing to Say. Going to get pressed the attack. And will live.
What a spell.
Yep. Absolutely. Split Earths continuing to decimate here. Okay.
Also found Wild.
Why? Able to be taken out. Matu has to pop his Enrage. Nice stats resist there as there's the save from Puppey to the other side of the cliff. And Nisha just continuing to go to town on this tower, and now the barracks. With that double damage like you talked about, Cinder, it's a 5 versus 4. Aegis and Cheese and Refresher Shard still on Secret side. And with that, LGD will just give up the top barracks. So full set for Secret. It's now Butterfly picked up by Ame.
Yeah,
it's still 2 minutes to go. There's no reason to stop.
Gale Force again.
He's now put onto Puppey. Oh, the jump in from Zai. He's just going to get dueled and brought down immediately. 50 seconds no buyback for him. All right. Nisha, Force Staff out of the Wukong's command. This is not the level 25 monkey talent. He's not quite there yet. So it is manageable for Secret, but I don't think they're going to go without Zai.
That's such an insanely fast boundless strike. Zai was going for a blink roar and got stunned right away, and then they turned it into a dual victory, and that will stop the push, but Secret probably still relatively happy. They got a full lane of barracks. They have a 1.5 minutes left on the Aegis that they probably will end up not really getting to use in this situation.
It's about a 1 minute.
It's good value.
1 minute time window for that.
It's technically possible if they set up the play right away.
But yeah, it's really hard to go high ground without getting that pick off first. So the pick off on Y provided them with quite a bit. And now the neutral items are dropping, Cinder, and anything game breaking here. Got Witchbane.
Spell Prism is very good on Leshrac. Aesthetics Cap found on Puppey could also come very much in handy against some of these PSG LGD heroes like the Legion Commander. They will give Spell Prism over to Nothing to Say. So 18% CDR, 6 all stats, a lot of mono regen. The mono regen largely irrelevant here. I don't think the fights will be long enough for him to run dry, but you never know. It could happen.
Diffusals.
That is true. Against the diffusals, it could make a difference. It's going to be stunning out the Hawk here. Gale Force.
Gale Force again. Nothing to Say, literally running in place. He's on a treadmill. Needs to work out, get some cardio here. 30 seconds with the Aegis. Nisha trying to go for this tier 3. Nothing to Say, doing so much damage, though. Nisha has to be forced after safety. They don't want to get baited in with this Aegis expiring.
He obviously does have the Aegis, but dying there
makes the fight really awkward.
Yeah, that could have made it really awkward. Like, we're making it sound like, okay, his death and he's not truly dead, but it would have set the scene for LGD to land all of their connective spells like Elder Titan Monkey King set up. They do get him out of there. And Secret will go full retreat mode. I wonder what Matsu's going to do with this Abyssal, by the way. I think honestly the best pick that Secret can find in the beginning of the fight is Bane. If Matsu can jump on him and kill him off immediately, that makes a huge difference. Obviously, Y has both a 4-step and a telescope to try to save his allies and make sure he gets off a key Fiend's Grip. And he's the only hero that's easy to kill, really, for Secret right now. Dive Bomb, yoink.
And that's assuming, I mean, he would pretty much have to use the Abyssal Blade to try to get that kill, and that we're assuming that LC's not in the vicinity to dispel that.
Well, even if he presses, then there can still be a bash proc, and Matsu kills him so fast that a lot of the time he can't react in time, so. And obviously, you know, something we maybe don't talk about enough in general about Bane, Enfeeble. Very important spell. You saw it there in the Siege. He just cast it on the Gyro. Loses 60% damage, 60% regen, and also the cast time reduction as well. So it is a pretty cool spell against Io.
Yeah, true.
That Y could make a big difference with. I think Bane, by the way, one of the highest win rate heroes of the main event. I don't remember what it was, but...
Which, that is not... That's pretty unusual for Bane.
Yep.
Usually his performances are not super noteworthy at any tournament, really.
Can be a bit skewed because PSG LGD like the hero a lot and they win every game.
That's true.
Maybe this one. And they did go 2-1 against T1, of course. Bracket.
If you're just joining us, this, of course, is the upper bracket finals best of 3. PSG LGD has the 1-0 advantage right now. They did meet in the group stage, and they did split, and that was PSG LGD's only loss in the entire group stage, was the one single game to Secret. But you noted before, that was a game where they picked Death Prophet, which they haven't had the best of success with at this tournament.
Secret
smoke from Secret.
This will be into LGD's ward. If LGD have someone here breaking the smoke, Y could get caught. Gale Force.
Yeah, Gale Force. Oh, Force Staff though. He's still stuck inside, but not able to reach him is Secret. Very tense now.
Very quick on the Lotus there as well, Faith Beyond.
And we won't know when the next Roche is up for another 40 seconds. As Ame is Lotus Orbed. Has the Butterfly. He is pretty fat.
Yeah. Aesthetics cap on him as well.
This is Romania. This is a Transylvanian accent.
I don't know what that comes. I have no idea where that came from. That's funny though. Pretty big item here. You're playing against some key stuns. And of course, just to recap how this works, whenever you get debuffed, you get 40% status resistance for 3 seconds. So it makes it harder for Secret to chain stun him, which is very important against especially Primal Roar. Also Shackle Shot. And it's all about, for PSG LGD, it's all about getting their dispels off, right? Like getting the press the attacking, the BKB, and then they can stand their ground.
Roche is up in 40 seconds.
with an uncharacteristic mistake there.
What's that?
He was Boundless Striking the mid-wave to push at the exact same time they smoked. So Smoke actually broke Boundless Strike being a physical ability.
Oh, Secret.
And this could give Secret some really good info, because now they're seeing Ame's movement.
Yeah, they do see this. They're going to deward is PSG LGD, so... Secret And of course, with the vision advantage, I mean, with just having a Beastmaster on your team, it'll allow you to be able to see Roche when he actually does spawn if they want to put somebody in there, either a Hawk or a Boar. But pretty early respawn for Roche, and this is going to be number 4 Cinderin, so it's going to have Ags and Refresher Shard and Cheese and, of course, Aegis to work with. So many items. 42 minutes in now. Whoop! I hear a roar, but the Force Staff to safety for nothing to say. That's 1 roar down, and again, he still has that Refresher Shard.
He used it instantly.
Oh, he used it already?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a bit of a loss here for Secret. That could have actually played a key role in their upcoming fight, but now Zai won't have it. That could have helped them get this Roche, which has just spawned, so 1 roar down, like you said. Pretty big deal. But that just goes out the window.
Do you know if they saw him pop it? Was it in vision?
Oh, the shard? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they saw him pop the shard.
Maybe they'd be more aggressive if they did not.
I was like, yeah, they did see him pop the roar. It was literally on one of their carries.
All right, thank you. And Faith Beyond with
Into
80 damage right now.
Nisha double damage again.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of double damages at this tournament, I won't lie. Gale Force to try to create a little bit of space. You can see the save there from Faith Beyond.
This sets up for
Split Art. Yeah, this is going to be
here.
very annoying to deal with. And yeah, Secret just has to get the hell out of the Roche pit.
And it's very clear what their play call is for LGD. Stall out the DD. We don't want to fight into Gyro DD. Now it's gone.
Roche just so confused. Why won't anyone kill me? Why am I getting invisibly stunned constantly?
Well, over time, nothing to say could solo Roche here.
Very slowly, yes. I mean, if this was an old patch, the Monkey King, if he had Ags, he could solo it without even hitting it.
What is it that Greek myth is of the guy who needs to keep pushing up a boulder?
Oh, I don't know. Matu jumps in. Why is in a lot of trouble? We get Force Staff to safety and gets the grip off as well. Matu does get the enrage off, so it's going to be difficult to kill with the dual damage is there. And down goes Matu. 90 seconds does have buyback, though. And will expend it immediately. Wukong's command running out. There's the roar from Zai. Is there enough damage from Nisha to take out nothing to say? It's going to be close. He's getting the high ground. The power shot not going to be there in time, but Yapsor jumps in, gets the shackle, focus fire. It's still not enough damage. Nothing to say is invulnerable. Even the axes are dodged. Oh boy, Secret have to get this Roche. They have to get a pickup before going to Roche even. Matu just focusing on the kill itself. Burst Splitter's down. All right, Secret, they use a buyback. Very important one at that, but at least they get Roche and a bunch of items.
Yeah.
And Aghanim Scepter, is that going to be on... Yeah, that's going to be on Ursa. So you're going to have the lower cooldown on the Enrage, and you can use it while disabled. So Fiend's Grip essentially nullified if used correctly, Cinderin.
That's a really, really big counter to Bane. Still can't remove the duel. That will obviously stick, but it's huge for Secret to get this. They now have 2 cheeses, one on Io, one on Gyro, 2 more for a pizza.
Can you cast it while you're dueled? Like, I know it won't dispel, but does it activate
so. No,
like the...
I don't think so. You're silenced, right? So you shouldn't be able to. But yeah, that's a big one for Secret. Of course, insane that Nothing to Say from LGD manages to escape there. A little bit of miscommunication between him and Faith Beyond. They ended up layering the Yules and press the attack. And that was what set up for the Roar follow-up from Zai. And by some miracle, they still got him out of there on 50 health. So still going to be a difficult push for Secret, but obviously in a commanding position in terms of net worth. And you wonder what the call here is from LGD. Do they want to try to wait out the Aegis and then go for a kill on Matsu? Obviously there's going to be a little bit of a timing window where he doesn't have Aegis or buyback. His buyback on a current cooldown of 6 minutes, Aegis lasts for 3.5, so any kill within that 2.5 minute span could be a potential game-winning move for LGD, but for now, obviously, in a very tough position, and Secret will just try to either just take more and more advantage and get more farm out of the map looking for key items, or they will see if they can somehow at any point find Y out of position with that Ursa, so that they can build up a fight. Y will have buyback this time, though, if he gets caught.
Nisha just hit level 25, so he takes the talent for the Flat Cannon cooldown reduction.
Yep.
So that's going to have a pretty high uptime overall. 12 seconds cooldown in all. And Matu, the extra attacks coming out for him. Any big talents for PSG LGD that we need to look out for?
Less 25. He just got the Edict talent.
Okay, yeah, that's... Whew. Yeah, if they win like one fight, they can just go throne with that
Monkey
thing.
obviously has the ring, and no one else is really close to anything. Elder Titan close to 20. We'll get the 100% cleave.
Okay.
That's no joke.
Okay.
Obviously also sitting on a Blink Dagger means that if he just gets the connection that he wants, he can kind of pick his target at any point in queue.
15k net worth lead for Secret. It doesn't feel like it though, does it to you? Maybe it's because they're playing LGD and they're just so crisp, but it feels really difficult to get another racks here.
It's not an easy game to end, but Secret are definitely in a commanding position just from... Like when you look at the map and how it gets played by both teams, that is clearly that there's one team that's clearly behind and clearly ahead. But again, for me, the absolute net worth value is not equal. I feel like PSG LGD's items do a little bit more bang for your buck there. We have a refresher on Ame now as well.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So 2 subsequent rings can be placed by Monkey King, can delay and defend for a very long time, and obviously if they have any sort of strong setup. A lot of the time what you do against Monkey King is you bait out the ring and then you disengage, and that just doesn't cut it against 2 of them.
Swift blink now on Matu.
Yeah, that's big.
Looking for wide, there's the roar! He's gonna get decimated! No, the force step again with the press of the attack! Beautiful shackle though, but not resulting in a kill for Secret.
So fast to react.
They're just instant. The press of the attacks have been absolutely on point for Faith Beyond, and force staffs as well. Secret, that was their first attempt at getting a pickoff here. Of course, with this Aghanim Scepter on Gyro, can at least do chip damage, but the split arts are just so annoying to deal with. I don't know how you go high ground. It's only a minute left on Aegis, and I think they might have to just wait it out, Synderen.
Yeah.
Earth Splitter, Echo Stomp, Split Arts, Wukong's command.
I genuinely think LGD are going to smoke the moment this Aegis expires and try to find Matu. It's a game-winning... It's their only true win condition for the foreseeable future, but it's so high impact if they pull it off that they genuinely could just potentially end the game in 2 minutes.
Right.
If they have any wave that they can connect into the enemy base within a minute, 60 seconds is more than enough for Monkey King and Lesh to take the TFO towers.
That does feel very transparent. Like Secret should know that that is the win condition for LGD this game.
They definitely
Expect them to play ultra passive here as the Aegis is expiring shortly.
I feel like Io should be close to the Ursa right now just in case, but he is playing with Gyro. Secret are maximizing farm on the map, and Matu will... I thought for a second he was going to show himself mid-wave here.
Ame doesn't have buyback, by the way. 400 gold away from that. Just stuck in his own base. And Matu, it's 2.5 minutes and 1,100 gold. Despite that, everybody else has buyback. But if you're Secret, yeah, there's no way you're going high ground now. Let's just go for Roche number 5, maybe 6, maybe 7, so maybe we can get double digits this game. And I believe once you get to double digits, it just drops every item in the game at once and it's a free-for-all, right? That's what I heard at least.
Maybe in the future you don't assign Dota. Okay.
Oh, the Abyssal Blade, Matu, they're gonna find the kill onto Y. But again, buybacks in tow, and yep, gem on the deck, but Faith Beyond able to recover it.
They were not ready that time with Faith Beyond. If you keep going for these quick pickoffs on Bane, eventually one is gonna stick, and that one did, but... Well, the good news for Secret is it's buying time for Matu's buyback, and they're still controlling the map, so even if they can't go high ground, this is still a good play. Not the most impactful kill, but it's more about the time rather than Bane being out of play, almost. Nothing to say. Disarm, more stuns.
I don't know what to do here. If you're... Oh, Ame's going to jump in, get force staffed away thanks to the Hurricane Pike. And Bane, I mean, he's up in 15 anyway, doesn't even have to expend the buyback. Gale Force just forcing them back. Wait! Alright, they jump in, but they're just immediately retreating here. Matu can't make up his mind. Going for the LC now. Gets force staffed again. Matu is going to find the kill, but that's a buyback now for him. Matu able to Earthshock to the other side of the splitter. On the both of you! Boundless strength! What a god! Jin Q and company just decimating Secret now. Over-aggressive without the buybacks to work with. And PSG LGD hold big time. That boundless strike.
Oh my god. I think with Xinkyu in the middle of all of them, with Earth Splitter and the full natural order, I think that boundless strike did pure damage to all of Secret's heroes.
That was...
Would love a replay of that one. That
sickening.
was absolutely stupid damage coming out from the two of them. Earth Splitter. Actually, Elder Titan did the most damage in that. Wait, that wasn't Elder Titan. Yes, it was. I take that back. Okay, look at this.
Yeah.
So I love the attempt here from Secret. Instant Ghost
Yeah, we're going to have a
Scepter.
buyback onto Matu. Not sure if we're going to have time to actually look at this
We're going to go
replay.
back to live, I think.
Yeah, Ame pops. That's the press the attack. Double buyback now for Secret. As you can see, no buyback for another 8 seconds on Matu. He does have the money though. So trying to delay here. There's the fortification. And there's the buyback available if he wants to expend it.
They are going to keep going until this Ursa buys back.
Absolutely. And with this Diabolic Edict, the duel comes in onto Zai, but the Gale Force to try to counteract it. Wukong's command place as well. The jump in from Matu, that is a deletion of Legion Commander. No buyback, that's a dieback in fact. Matu, look at this Gale Force. That was a double Gale Force, I think. All this damage being applied to Monkey King, but Matu, if he gets taken out, that's a dieback from Matu. Double kill from GQ. LGD are doing it, Cinderin. It's a 1 for 3 with the buyback onto Y. And this is going to be multiple racks, if not more. GG's just called, just like that. Just one misstep from Secret and LGD capitalized.
That did not look like LGD were going to be able to win the game there. Secret got the first kill onto Legion Commander. Blink duels, they counteracted really nicely, but the damage is just... Again, this is what I've been talking about earlier. I find it so hard to go against a late game Elder Titan that's so farmed. Like, you look at the way LGD's heroes play together. He gets in the Astral Spirit, goes in with the Natural Order, blinks in, just starts hitting people. Earth Splitter wasn't even a part of that. He had it on cooldown from the base fight. Doesn't matter. Leshrac and Monkey King just get to absolutely shine with all of that resistance removed from Secret's heroes. Man, that was a sick game. Secret played super well in this game, in my opinion. But LGD, again, find a way to clinch victory.
And with that victory, PSG LGD is in the grand finals of TI-10. And Secret down into the lower bracket finals to await either Team Spirit or IG, which
and worth
have
noting,
been really dominant.
I think in this, correct me if I'm wrong here, in this entire tournament, LGD have not lost a series. They've lost a total of two games.
They lost to T1.
That's one of their games.
No, they lost to Secret as well in
That's
group stage.
That's 2 games.
That's 2. That 1 + 1 is 2.
That is 2. We have a
American
confirmation
education
from
again.
Suns fan. 1 + 1 is 2,
right,
ladies and gentlemen.
With the worst outro in TI-10 history, let's go to the panel.
Thank you very much, Suns fan. what was that?
I was saying, give it to us. I know we wanted to do simple arithmetic. All I know is that there is one team now waiting in the grand finals.
Yes, there is. Wait, first of all, show of hands. Who had LGD in the grand finals? Raise your hand. All right, there you go. There you have it. PSG LGD taking the series with a nice 2-0 against Team Secret. Let's take a quick look at the stats while we break down the game, shall we? So when we were talking about PSG LGD, Tsunami, you were saying that that Team Secret should not take it late game against PSG LGD, right?
Don't test them. I mean, to Secret's credit, they were trying to go for an early game. It's just, we praise Secret for being a wall so much. That's just because we haven't even seen what LGD is capable of in the late game. Fastest average games, generally. We have never really seen them go that far into a match. This time they did, and this time they showed that they have the resilience to be a grand finalist and make Secret sweat.
Scary, man. I don't know. It's really scary because Insania was saying, and you've said this throughout the entire tournament too, that Secret, when they're in that advantageous position, they're totally fine with just choking you out, right? Like, you described it as frustrating to play against them, but now I'm just thinking against LGD, just go for the jugular while you can, because good Gaben, at some point they're gonna beat you.
Well, I understand why you would think that way. I personally still think, like, Secret had this game. I think, like, they messed up in the end, and it was a poor execution in that last team fight where LGD found the perfect opening to win the game. But to me, I think if you're Secret, your takeaway from the series is LGD can bleed. They found something that worked against them, and I think if they look at the concept of Game 2, Seb touched on it again very, very nicely, but it was a different approach. Every single team is trying to figure out how do we beat LGD in a team fight. But I feel like even now that I sat down and I was thinking about it during the game, Zhao 8, and during his when he won TI, it was a very team fight heavy meta, and it was a lot of like very early clashes and pushing on. But like this more map style, like macro game based playstyle, I think actually favors teams going up against LGD. So for me, I think from Secret's, and you got to look at it positively, right? Of course, you'd never want to lose, but what your takeaway from this game is like, this is potentially a style that we could break them with if we get a potential rematch. So I think for Secret, I mean, I like the fact that they could scale up. They were not under time pressure.
You're right,
They had Gyro,
yeah.
they had Ursa,
100%.
they had Beast. Like, they had heroes that would scale up into the game. And I think that still is the right concept. I think trying to beat them early, that's what everybody's trying to do. And I think that's what they're really ready for. So.
And there were places where, well, like we were all talking, you know, we're able to look at the map. We don't feel the pressure that they do. And it did look like there were a lot of openings for them to cut creep waves and openings for them to farm a lot more than they did. And they typically do. It's uncharacteristic of Team Secret to not consume the entire map. So you are definitely right about that. Like, LGD can bleed, and they have room for improvement. So this could be, if they get to the grand finals, it could look different at that point if it does happen.
It could look different. Well, LGD did manage to use this playstyle to their advantage, and they did advance to the grand finals. Let's take a look at the bracket.
Wow. I've
LGD
never been a hell of a journey to get to this point. Although, at least, two of the teams I was confident, Secret and LGD, Spirit and IG were not on my radar. I thought IG, after Singapore had cashed out all of their skill for the year, I thought that, sure, maybe upper bracket out of the group stage, you had a little bit of group stage magic going on. They have maintained the magic.
So now the teams that are remaining in the lower bracket are Team Secret, Team Spirit, and IG.
I feel like there's a little bit of magic dust going around Team Spirit ever since they beat OG, or from starting from that series. I mean, I was casting the VP Team Spirit series, so I had like a really close look at the game, and there's just something special about it. I don't feel like I'm watching maybe their players play at like their regular skill level. I feel like it's just, there's something special about that team, and I think they actually could take a game off IG, or even the series.
They did fantastic in yesterday's series against Virtus Pro, right? They took it to game 3. It was 1-1, and that game was super close. So, and they pulled it out, and they looked so happy. And when we saw the team walk out, they just had all these smiles on their faces. And like I was behind the arena, like I was backstage, and they were just like celebrating very quietly amongst themselves, but I feel like that they have that team synergy. But who has more team? Who would you say has the most team synergy, really, out of all the teams that are remaining?
I mean, I think LGD is the obvious choice, but I think if you put them aside, I actually think like when you look at Team Secret, you have a lot of individually very high skilled players, really intelligently put together drafts.
Right.
But I wouldn't really think of them as like the most team synergetic team. IG, I think, is a very similar thing to Team Secret. So yeah, probably Team Spirit.
All right, well, cool. Well, we do have a great interview with the winners. We have Frankie with Xiaoba. Let's take a look.
Thank you very much, Sumi. So I've got one question for you, which is you're actually a TI champion, Xiaoba. You won back in 2014 with Team Newbie, and I'm just wondering, now you're in the grand finals of yet another TI with LGD. Does this bring back memories for you?
只有一个问题 ，TI4 你跟着 Newbie 夺冠了，然后这一次又再一次跟着老干爹进入总决赛，有没有一些回忆或者想起以前呢？
就是看到大家还在为 TI 盾努力，就很感触吧。然后希望追梦的人有个好结果吧。
I feel very emotional seeing everyone still chasing for the ages. I hope that everyone who has a dream reaches their dream.
Well, congratulations on making it through to the finals. I wish you all the best with your dreams, and we're going to head back to the panel.
Thank you very much, Frankie. What a great interview,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my
brings
God.
brings a tear to my eye. It's so pure and
What a
wholesome,
great
even
leader.
though he's cutthroat, man.
Well, yeah,
That's
you
just
know.
a soft exterior, I think. I think inside he's like, whoo, I only had to show 2 strategies. Thank God, man. If I pushed to a game 3, I might have had to whip something out of the bank.
Yeah, he didn't want to reveal anything in that interview, so he's just like,
Really?
yeah, you know, everybody's
I feel like he was
emotional.
speaking to me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Personally?
when he said, I hope that everyone who's trying will achieve their
Reaches that
dreams, I
dream.
really felt like he was speaking to me.
Really? Oh,
You feel
that's so
inspired
nice.
now?
Yeah,
Ian?
I do.
Was he speaking to me as well?
No.
all right. They were not speaking to Jenkins. So, what was that production? Oh, everyone, we interrupt this panel for an important announcement. Let's take a look.
Davion, Dragon Knight. Your identity consumed, transformed into a murderous abomination in the service of a master you hate. Dragon Knight, I've come to collect what belongs to me. What the demon is corrupted, I will cleanse with fire.
You need to give Davion back to us.
You are the child of fire, a part of me, and you will obey.
I am no one's child! I am the fire!
That's a lot of fucking dragons.
Can I just say this fall actually ends like very soon. So Marcy in Dota 2. Oh, love to see it. I thought we were going to be having hype talks about Lena and the anime. I thought that was already very exciting, but Marcy.
That's a lot of dragons.
That's
you know, we get more of the anime, and now we get the anime in our game again.
Yes,
she looks badass. I gotta say.
She does.
Really does.
Oh, fan favorite, and I feel like everyone's just gonna love her even more.
Oh, and best part, she's a jungler.
And she's
fighting the
melee.
Hellbear Smasher.
Please be a support. Please be a support.
There's no way.
New
Dude,
hero.
there's no way. Have you seen that fighting? There's no way
Every
she's a
new
support.
hero, it becomes a core. You know, these mid laners are like, okay, I'm going to take it mid. I'm going to buy it. I want it to be a support, please. Thank you.
But there's never new
You
hero
just had
carries. There's
Hoodwink.
hardly ever new hero carries.
Hoodwink, Willow. We've seen Dawnbreaker played as support.
Be versatile. How about that? Be able to do everything, Marcy,
All right.
please.
No.
Become the hero you
Hard
want.
carry.
It's already confirmed. Because where were the teammates? Did you guys see a teammate in that video? No.
That was like
What
a
was she
1v3.
doing?
That was like a 1v3.
Hitting the jungle, and she hit some lane creeps. That's
True.
a hard carry. It's solved. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Thanks, mate.
That's very exciting, and that must be very soon. This fall generally ends. Is it the 21st of November or 21st of December? I forgot.
This is literally the only time Dota players care about the seasons in their entire lives. Wait, what is it?
When does fall end? Oh, okay, that's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. Of course, look forward to in the season, but also to look forward to here still at the International 10, as we are also ready for our next series, Elimination. We already know our top 4 teams, but we need only 3 for the final day, so we're going to have another calling on our hands. We're going to see Team Spirit going up against IG Gods. That is a nice repeat of 3 days ago now, 4 days ago?
Yep. Bit of deja vu. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like the two teams match up and produce these really like high tempo, fast-paced, aggressive games of Dota. Seeing Toronto, Tokyo versus Emo especially is a matchup I cannot wait for.
Okay, so do you want to highlight why that is a matchup? You want to talk about something else? Okay, well, before you talk about something else, the reason why it's very exciting to see Toronto, Tokyo go up against Emo, for people that were unaware. So all chatting in Dota 2, obviously you know a lot about the voice lines and the tipping, and people do a lot of stuff in-game with voice lines and stuff, but sometimes people just press Shift-Enter, which allows you to chat to everybody in your team. And yes, that is indeed a thing that also happens on the international stage and in grand finals as well, Trent.
Well, apparently. Do you shift ender? Are you one of those?
No, because I think that the moment that I do it, I'll lose because karma. And
See, that's what I thought. I was very concerned when that came out, but no true combo there. They got the taunt into the win, and unexpected.
Yeah, Emo got the taunt with the question mark in the grand finals of the Singapore Major, and then of course we saw yesterday Toronto Tokyo, easy game to OG, which. I mean, that's spicy tea.
But there's kind of like a story behind it, right? For like Spirit, like for IG and EG, of course, there was the whole pre-thing going in, Emo feeling not too great. And then you have in Spirit, obviously there being OG. OG was the first team to start typing at TI. So there's kind of maybe like their way of going, we've just beaten you, the all shadows of TI. And now maybe this series, they have no bad blood, right? Like Spirit and IG, when like other than upper bracket, they've not had to type to each other. And maybe we're not going to see any all chat potentially, or new things occur. Maybe there's new blood that we've not really seen.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the teams think it's going to give them a psychological edge, but yeah, that drama and tension, that rivalry doesn't necessarily exist.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe within this chat, because they met before, that changes things up a little.
They didn't all chat against each other when they met for the first time, right?
No, I don't think so. No, yeah.
I think they start this game with double question mark. That's my personal prediction.
They go 5-man mid, all high five.
Yeah, they're going to be high-fiving, question marking each other. There's going to be a ton of all chat. I feel like they're going to get a little bit clowny.
A little bit clowny. Well, if it's up to these players on your screen, it will definitely get clowny. They all like action. We see the playmakers, and a big difference there is, of course, we see Yatoro and Fly. They're the carries, of course, for the team. But Gods, we also see some support players in this one.
Yes, Ollie and Mira, I think both very key players for their team. To me, Ollie's kind of that like very stable, at times kind of defensive, but he's getting involved in all of the action. Like he's always going to be backing up his cores, and he understands like their timings because he's always playing around the core that's the strongest at any given point in the game.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the series. The winner of this series will move forward to the final day of the International 10. While the loser, I mean, top 4 is still really good. You still get a lot of money as well, but it really is about making it to that final day. Let's welcome the teams on stage. Invictus Gaming will take their place on stage right now, and they are ready to make it to that final day. They like to be in grand finals. We have seen them in grand finals. These are your Singapore Major champions from earlier this year. This squad has been together since September 2019 and have not stopped grinding. They have learned, they have grown, and also throughout this tournament, we see that they have improved with every step. Have they improved enough to make it to the final day? We'll find out as they are going to face Team Spirit. Will be the second team to walk on stage here on this Saturday evening, ready to face their opponent. And Team Spirit, of course, the Eastern European team that has made it the furthest in 6 years. The last time we saw an Eastern European team make it this far was 2013. It's not even 6 years. My math is completely off. This team is on fire. They have done so well. One of the youngest teams at the International, and they have the youngest player on their squad in Yatoro, 18 years old. Yes, you might be wondering, hey, but I thought Yatoro was the guy with the red hair. And you'd be right, because he was, but he's also the guy that shaved his head, because apparently yesterday morning, before their series versus OG, a sacrifice had to be made to the Dota gods. And I'm not even kidding, that is literally the reason.
And now we'll bring on the Clippers and sacrifice another.
But hey, yesterday it worked.
Toronto, Tokyo. Whoop, see ya.
It worked. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, obviously, when you're playing on a big stage like this, there's gonna be some kind of, you're gonna believe in some kind of karma and sacrifice. Some superstition will come into there. And I mean, this is one that we hadn't seen before.
It's a sacrifice,
Yes.
It's all the hours you've put into Dota. Well, while you did that, you were growing that hair.
Yes.
And now it's all on the line. And so it's all laid out. It's all out there. It's all on the stage.
I hope they cleaned it up afterwards, though. Of course, also, Yatoro is the only player that has played 10 games on the main stage with 10 different heroes, which is incredible, Tigov.
Yeah, you don't often get to see that. And every time we mention that, we always seem to kind of gravitate towards Collapse because, of course, Collapse is unlocking that a lot.
Yeah.
And they also said in their interview yesterday there was a surprise for today. And I'm a little bit let down because I thought they're all going to shave their heads and just come out like 5 warlords going and face IG in the eyes, but that hasn't happened. So they did say there's a surprise coming. So maybe in the draft there could be a surprise. Maybe after the game they have the Clippers prepared or something. But I'm hoping for that surprise to show because they said it in the interview.
They said it in the interview, and then it must be true because that's how
they wouldn't lie.
Maybe it's a few more of those unpicked heroes we're going to see. Touch techies, I'm sure they'd be quickly fan favorites then. But when you mention hero pool, the thing that's crazy about Yatoro is he's the youngest player in the tournament.
Yeah.
And often I think the issue with young players is sometimes their hero pool is small. They've just been playing Dota for a short amount of time, but clearly not an issue for him.
Not an issue for him, indeed. Of course, they're going up against IG here, and the opening series for both of these teams was this one as well. And it actually started going very well at the start of that best-of-3 for Team Spirit, Trent.
You could say they took a game off them, but really, it was a fantastic move they made, but it really was just kind of like one move to actually secure this game. And this
all you need is one move.
Well, I mean, they were pretty far behind.
But that's what Spirit has kind of leaned on throughout this tournament is their ability to find that one move, right? Be it finding that one Roshan to give them the advantage, be it finding that beautiful DD for a Morphling to run it down mid. But I think that is the tenacity of Team Spirit, that ability to keep themselves in any game that not a lot of teams are able to unlock at TI.
So you wouldn't call it fluky?
I wouldn't call that fluky. I mean, DD runes are very skilled.
Okay.
This is also the first Rampage, by the way, that we saw on the main stage. And in the meantime, Team Spirit has had 3 Rampages on the main stage in total, of course, making it all the way to this point.
That's crazy, because he had the 5th one of all time. That first one there'd only been 4 at all the other TIs on the main stage.
Yeah, this is the fight in the game 2, by the way, where IG was very dominant, and we have a godlike emo in the Roche pit here, securing game 2, of course, forcing out that game 3 in this series.
Yeah, and the important thing about that 3rd game in this series was the fact that IG actually broke 2 records in this game with the highest KDA with 0 deaths and 1+ deaths. It was like 49 KDA and 37 KDA in that game on the Storm and the Spectre. Oof. So Spirit did kind of get a little bit slapped in that 3rd game, and I think they're going to have to use that and go, okay, this is how we got, completely removed from the upper bracket. Let's maybe not let that happen again. So they've learned the hardest way against IG of how to not approach a Storm Spectre, for example.
So this series, if you would have asked me at the start of the tournament, and if you would have asked me even at the start of the main event, I would say IG will take it. And they did take it in the upper bracket first round. But now we've seen Team Spirit evolve. IG is still very strong, but obviously they did drop also to the lower bracket eventually. Is this an even series? Does anybody have a very clear favorite going into this, Trent?
I would still lean over towards IG personally. I think that it is something that we're missing a lot in the way that Dota's been played over like the whole COVID era, has been this idea of coming to a LAN and quickly grinding out a bunch of games and improving all your strategies based on that. And that is something we got the majors at the very least, but it used to be when we had like a tournament every other weekend. That's a very integral part of how you play Dota, right? And you learn very quickly as a team, and that's something that they're missing. So you're seeing them adapt, and they're bringing that in. They have to make sure that they're going to have those skills in order to actually adapt and level up enough here to beat IG.
Yep. I'm with Trent, and I feel like IG's biggest strength is they have more than one play style. I think they've won games playing around emo with these like heavy mid-game lineups, his Ember Spirit, but then they can also win games where they sit back and play for this more late game, fly on his Spectre. It just feels like to me that IG is a bit more flexible with their drafts.
They're very robust for sure. And I think if you look towards Spirit and what's kind of got them here, they kind of have the same, but it's a little bit less. And I think the main thing here is just the enthusiasm that Spirit brings, right? It's the fact that they do see good in games that are pretty bad. I think IG, for example, most of the games that they've won, it has looked pretty decent. I think the second game today, they had to bounce back. But I think Spirit has consistently found more routes back into harder games. So it's even for me, honestly.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that because it should be feeling fairly even between these two teams, especially considering their results prior. I want to talk about the mid matchup because Toronto Tokyo versus Emo, we talked about, of course, the alt chatting. That's great. But in terms of player matchups, this should be a very exciting mid lane to watch, T.
Sure, yeah. Again, to remind everyone about Toronto Tokyo, he started the DPC very much as a pub-esque style of player. No one really kind of gave him the respect he now deserves, and I think he has kind of proven himself throughout this tournament. Whilst if you look to the other side, Emo, kind of, again, a slightly shaky tournament, but still very much high regard. So, yeah, I think both of these players kind of want to prove themselves to their fans that they can be that top 3 at TI mid laner.
Yeah. I would personally give Emo a bit of an edge. I think he has that kind of more playmaking ability that Toronto Tokyo doesn't showcase as much. It's partly the Spirit playstyle where usually it's collapse on that big team fighter starting the fights or the supports, whereas Emo is often the one, we saw Blink Dagger Ember Spirit early today. He wants to be able to go in and set his teammates up for success, whereas for Toronto Tokyo, often it's more like, the Kunkka, the Invoker, these heroes that sit back a bit more. Maybe, they're poking and prodding, but they're not fully starting the fight.
Yeah, we just said sit back, and then we saw on screen someone else sitting in the chair, and that is Super, the coach, who will take over the wheel during the drafting phase. At the other side, Team Spirit, they do have Silent backing them up. He doesn't necessarily take over the wheel, but definitely a very vocal voice in that draft indeed. And speaking of draft, let's get into it for this first game.
Invictus Gamer versus Team Spirit. Game 1.
Thank you, Shiver. Sunsfin here. Finally made it to the tiny table that makes me look just great. I am here with my Persian brother, Insania. Salam alaikum, my friend. And my American brother, BSJ. Hello. Hi. Great to see you. Great to have you here. Let's get into the draft, gentlemen. IG versus Team Spirit, best of 3. This is for, well, I was going to say all the marbles, but there's actually a few more to go with. Winner of this.
A chance at all the marbles.
Chance at all the marbles. I'm guessing you saw that show recently on Netflix.
Yes, I did.
Squid Game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the drafts, BSJ. Stop distracting me, for God's sake. So,
my bad.
Team Spirit versus IG. Talk to me, gentlemen.
It looks like a potential Tiny is going to be left open, but most likely I think it's going to get banned when Magnus is out of the pool. I think Mag has been the only hero I've seen effectively work against Tiny, so yeah, there you go. Mag's out, Tiny's out.
Yeah, I like to see IG remove these heroes like Weaver and Mag because they just leave room for these outplays. Team Spirit, I think on paper is a bit weaker than IG, but they have this X factor that I think a team that's an underdog needs to have in order to take these series like we saw yesterday against VP. They can just win the game at any point. And in their first game of the main event, we saw that clip of the Morphling with the DD. They were down, almost out in that game, and suddenly they throned. So that's what I'm looking for from Team Spirit. Will they have the playmaking potential 30, 40 minutes into the game with their heroes? And they almost always give themselves up.
I think Spirit's they've been really good about hanging through their games. I feel like even ever since Kiev Major, when we played them in a best of 1, I kind of realized this about their team. They have this really interesting thing they do pretty late on into the game where if they're behind, they'll take over your triangle, set up vision. And I think actually when it comes to playing around vision, they might be the strongest team out of all the teams still here. So I think that's going to be something that they want to look to utilize and abuse. Shocking first pick from IG, the Kaka Lion.
Couldn't have possibly expected this one. He has been only playing it pretty much every game of the main event. The thing I think about Team Spirit is when you mentioned they take over the opponent triangle and establish vision in weird places, I feel like when I'm watching them, they should be losing. I don't know if you know what I mean, but they're in this position where they don't look like they take standard fights. They don't look like they're holding standard parts of the map. And you just look at the net worth lead, and it never goes in favor of the opponent. And I think it's something that they're just so unique about that maybe these teams aren't prepared for. But the thing about IG compared to VP, for instance, is that I just think IG is much more solid in their game rather than being more on the aggressive. They just play to their own timings. VP's kind of run at you consistently, and Team Spirit's the type of team that if you mess up once, overextend once, they will punish you.
You guys have a lot of experience with this, but IG obviously is the favorite going into this, right? In terms of just the entire year, in terms of the scope. But Team Spirit has like all the momentum right now. Like how much of a difference do you think that actually makes at this stage?
I think it makes a huge difference for Team Spirit. I think right now they get Mars Bane. I think these are two heroes that they love playing. And I think of Collapse, Bane, Mars is like the first hero that comes to mind. And I think like when you feel like your heroes are working, when you feel like the ideas that you're coming into the tournament with are working, and you get that momentum building up like in the lower bracket as they have, that gives you confidence to just pick it. You're like, all right, screw it. We don't care about the Tidehunter. You don't second guess yourself like, maybe we should take the Tide because it's been so good at this tournament. You're like, nah.
It's funny because at the Animator, that's where they kind of like everybody was picking Mars back then. He was really strong, but he's kind of tapered off with a couple of nerfs to go with it, and there's still a team that's not afraid to bring it first too. And then Bane, what the hell's happening with this hero? Usually not very good at TI or any tournament in the past God knows how many years, but he's being picked with a very high win rate now.
Yeah, he went through like a small dip in the group phase because for the tournaments leading up to TI, he was highly sought after, and then they gave him a slight nerf to Nightmare in the laning stage. But he just wins pretty much every lane. We saw somebody like save on VP yesterday, setting up countless ganks. The time that your team has to connect to you with the Nightmare, with how spread out teams tend to be playing right now, it's just so much easier. The ease of execution, the follow-up stuns is all you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And picking it early like this, because you have the Enfeeble, a lot of teams right now tend to run some sort of healing hero or some sort of healing mechanic in their drafts. You kind of say no heals for you. It's kind of like if you think about Rubik. When people pick Rubik, you don't really want to pick certain heroes against them because it gives Rubik these tools. The Bane fills a pretty similar role right now in terms of how the Enfeeble specifically interacts with other healing spells. So on top of that also, I think it's one of Miposhka's like staple heroes.
We see Monkey King, Lina in the second phase. Monkey King even getting to the second phase is kind of crazy considering how strong it's been as mostly a support, but we did see in the last series position 1 for PSG LGD. And Wyvern, another save taken out. That's a hero that's kind of dropped off considerably since the last 6 months. That was like a hero every single game with Mars, or not necessarily with Mars, but just two of the heroes that were just spammed big time back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I love December ban, actually. I think when it comes to IG, they really seem to look at their best when Emo is on a hero that can like kind of play make, but also scale up into the game. And currently with the items that Ember buys, I feel like he fills those two roles probably the best out of any hero I've seen Emo play. So I think it's really, really good ban from Team Spirit.
Yeah, so my question for you, Aiden, is they have this Bane Mars combo, and the reason why I see Tide getting picked is neither of those two heroes deal with Kraken Shell. They want to have somebody to jump. Tide's always going to present themselves as the target, and on paper, these two heroes don't have the way to deal with it. So do you pick something like Disruptor? Do you pick a carry that's going to buy Silver Edge? What are you thinking like going into the second phase to address this Tidehunter?
So I think the really cool thing about Spirit is Yatora has such a wide hero pool, and it's been reflected in the fact that he's not played the same hero twice, right? But I feel like he can play both some sort of tempo control hero and he can play some scaling hero. So it depends really on what kind of approach Spirit wants to take. If they want to play maybe some more pacing hero, then yeah, I could see the Disruptor on the Bane as a 4 and try to play this draft really fast. I think generally speaking though, Mira tends to play more traditional position 4 heroes. I think he used to be a core player actually before he started to play 4, so not like that 5 that moved to 4. So I doubt they run the Bane 4. I think most likely it's going to be a Miposhka Bane.
Are you expecting this to be, I guess we don't know yet, but there's some flexibility with the Tidehunter, whether it's actually support or off lane. We've seen a lot of support this tournament for Tide. Why do you guys think that is something that has kind of been more recent addition to Dota?
I think it's a natural progression for any hero that you're going to want to pick it first round. It's going to get countered, and you want them to be forced to counter you, but you're fine to put it at a support role as long as it can lane. So it just gives you this edge where if there's 2 roles that you can pick from, and in the second round of the draft, it just leaves your strategy a lot more wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think coming into the tournament, a lot of people that were looking to counter Tide were looking primarily at how do we deal with the Kraken Shell. And when you're trying to counter the Kraken Shell, running it as a position 5, it's still going to accomplish what you do as a 5, which is Gush and Ravage. So I think that kind of thing where if you get countered as a 3, you put it in a 5 position. However, I think this is, at this point in the tournament, teams kind of know where the preferred position of the hero is. They've seen so many games get played. So I would be surprised if this wasn't a Tide 3. I think they're probably going to be looking more at some sort of Phoenix type hero because I think it really plays to their strengths.
Ursa, third pick by IG. Saw that in the last series as well.
Yeah, this hero's stock's been rising as well throughout the course of the tournament. These durable carries like the Monkey King we saw last game, you saw the Ursa chew through him, and that's what he's meant to do, but this hero does kind of fall off if you can kite the ulti plus the Ag Shard timing. He doesn't farm nearly as fast as these other carries, but with the IO, you're supposed to sustain your carry, right? You're supposed to keep them alive, but over the course of the time that Ursa's hitting him, it just becomes more and more difficult with the Fury swipes adding up.
Abaddon picked, and that almost ensures
entirely that Tidehunter's a 3. Although I would love to see Abbott on his core, honestly. It is so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think for IG though, it very likely just is what you see is what you get here. I think these are the 2 side lanes, and they're reserving the last pick for Emo.
What do you think about Slark here? One of the few games I think it looks really nice.
You bring up Slark every time we're on panel together.
I have not brought up Slark this entire time.
Yeah, you waited for me.
Exactly.
There's some obsession with you and Slark. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's just the fish comp. This is an Aiden level analysis. You see a fish on the other team, and the best thing you can do is get another fish on your own team.
Fair enough.
I think if you're going to pick Slark, one of the most important things to have is you want some sort of sustain tool to allow him to trade, because you want to utilize the essence shifts. But okay, they seem to not want it. PA also the shard. I'm sure you know this better than I do, but it's a great answer to the Tidehunter because you have the damage to burst him during the break, and you also have the ability to break for yourself. So PA on his own, if he gets strong enough into the game, he has the ability to jump Tidehunter whenever he's presented to him.
The matchup for PA is a lot better versus Ursa as well. Ursa has to commit really hard onto you. If he wants to go, you can pick and choose, force him to use his ultimate defensively, potentially even just his Earth Shock defensively with the daggers. And with the lower cooldown dagger at level 10, lowering it to 4 seconds, it makes that like navigation much easier. And also the Ursa has to buy an MKB for you, and Ursa doesn't deal with minus armor all that well. Burst damage, he wants to be able to use his ultimate conveniently. None of your items like Ags or anything like that make you feel all that great. So the matchup's good, but the thing about Tide is he loves playing against PA in lane. It's almost a free farming lane. I'm assuming they'll leave it as a 3. You get a lot of stick charges from the PA's dagger, so you can afford to take Gush earlier on in the lane. And you can also just play the sustain game where you walk up in his face because he just doesn't threaten you enough in the early game. Not enough damage from PA in the laning stage.
Yeah, I think for Team Spirit, the trick's going to be how do we get to 20 minutes, right? How do we get to the point where our PA is going to outscale the Radiant draft without losing too much? Because you have to deal with the Roshan. There's going to be an early Rosh attempt from IG. They have the Ursa Abaddon. Abaddon's there to sustain him, allows him to hit Rosh. There's a negative armor from Tide. And like you said, right, Tide is going to have a very good start to this game. And that's going to allow them to kind of set the pace and decide where they want to go and how they want to play it.
And for counter potential for Roche, like all they have for Team Spirit is Arena, which is not that great. It's not like you have an Elder Titan that can just delay. So I don't know how much you put that into stock when you're picking, because I'm assuming mid heroes for both respective teams is coming up here.
The thing is, since you don't have the stall, like you mentioned, from long range, that means you have to control that area pretty consistently if you want to stop the Roche early on, which I think means they have to put a lot of emphasis on this PA IO lane getting off to a decent start, assuming the IO is in the safe lane. And that means that because the Tide is a good matchup against PA, they most likely want to pick a mid that easily rotates, conveniently kills the Tide once or twice. The Leshrac would have been a perfect example that they banned out from IG. Just damage over time, chase him down, non-committal. Like really convenient gank is what I call it, because the PA sets that up really well with the dagger slow. One of the few carries that heavily contributes to those early ganks.
A lot of mid heroes have been banned, gentlemen. Who's left on the list? We got Void Spirit still there. In terms of the Spirit Brothers, I guess Earth Spirit technically, but we haven't seen that mid in quite a while.
I like Death Prophet a lot for Team Spirit. I'm curious if they leave it in for IG.
Yeah, I think some sort of secondary core from Team Spirit, because right now the problem that I see is their PA is most likely just going to want to farm. I think Yator is probably the only carry player here that I could see like play this PA as a more active hero, where he's just fighting with his team a lot and trying to snowball the game that way. But generally speaking, I'd expect the PA to be looking to farm a bit more, and then they need some sort of damage to go with the IO Mars Bane to apply pressure to IG.
They have to have a momentum hero, like early. They banned the Lesh SF. Those are like lane dominators, tower hitters, early physical damage from the Lesh, or prior damage from Lesh's Diabolic Edict and SF. So I'm still leaning towards Death Prophet as my main pick, but anything that says like I'm going to force this Void Spirit to get some help may just open up enough space in the map so that they can delay that Rosh. They're probably not going to take it, but if they can make that Rosh 15 minutes instead of 10, it makes a big difference for Ursa's second Rosh timing.
Yeah, I think it's tricky because if you run the DP here, you have the Wisp to back you up and you can get relocated out, but there's a lot of fast damage coming out of IG, right? You have the Ursa Burst together with a Lion, a Gush on top, or Void Spirit coming in. Like, your DP can die before you can get relocated off. And I think it's one of the key things where it's hard for Wisp, right? If you can kill a hero within the 3 seconds that your relocate is going off, then it's really, really hard to fight. You can't really play as a save, and I think that might be one of the reasons they don't go for it.
Oh, Slacks is not happy right now. I'll tell you that right now. I can hear him groaning in the background. Wind Ranger final pick.
Yeah, I like this a lot when I'm playing Wisp myself, where, like, let's say I'm not playing it with a traditional combo, so it's most likely going to be like either Wisp PA or Wisp Mars, where you're going to be playing to sustain in the lane, and then you don't really have anything to do. So having some sort of ranged hero that you can tether to and run around the map with and gank with feels really good. So I understand why they picked it. It makes a lot of sense for their draft. And I don't really know how the lane is made. I think it's fairly even, I'd say. I know I played this matchup once in one of my pub games, but I just think Void Spirit's auto attack animation is broken, so I got no CS. But I think at a pro level with 2 top-tier mid players, it should be fairly even.
I'm always concerned when I see PA plus Wind Ranger, PA with the evasion, and Wind Ranger with the win run. You're going to buy MKB on Fly. It could be like 3rd or 4th item. MKB Ags, and I think this game becomes really hard for Team Spirit to navigate the fight. So I'm leaning towards IG just because whenever I see a carry hero whose build is very straightforward and how they're going to scale, and the other team's on a pressure to time or a timing pressure, I just lean towards the ease of execution there.
So one thing that Slacks does have right about Wind Ranger, I have to admit, and I really hate to do this because complimenting him just makes me cringe, but Wind Ranger, it just feels like it's either amazing or terrible, and there's not much in between. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It does give him a way to scout Roche, though, the power shot, and he'll be playing around mid most of the time.
And Gale Force, huh?
Sure. That's more of a support thing.
Oh, please. You don't get that on core still? It's so good.
Just delays your timings, the Maelstrom BKB.
Bro,
he doesn't know about
global.
shards. I saw his YouTube shard video. It's terrible.
Yeah, I didn't even bother clicking on that. Why would I?
Yeah.
I'm the master at shards and Ags, BSG. I don't know if you know this. It's a good shard, okay? Just trust me.
I'm trusting you.
I think he had it in C tier.
That was back when it was a global power shot.
C tier? Oh, I thought you made a new one.
No, that was...
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, that one was also bad anyway, so don't click on that. Jenkins is also in that, so definitely don't.
Not worth your time.
Yeah, absolutely not. So you're both going for IG here, I take it?
I actually think Spirit has a pretty good draft for themselves.
Okay.
I think for Spirit, it's going to be about, can we get this PA fat enough and get him online, and can we stop Ursa from rushing? That's going to be the main points to look for.
All right, let's go to Frankie, who's with Silent from Team Spirit.
Silent, thank you so much for joining me. I noticed Collapse is free to play his Mars today. Were you expecting that?
Really, we wasn't expected. I was sure we're gonna ban him, but lucky for us. But who knows? We prepared something new stuff. We didn't expect it, so gonna be interesting.
Well, Udachi, we'll see you in game 2. Thank you so much. Spasiba. We're going to head over to OD Pixel now and Newcaster OP Owie.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Yes, indeed. We're ready to rock and roll with this one. It's going to be quite the game. We've seen the draft here from Spirit and IG. AUI, what do you make of this? What do you like? Who do you think's come out with the hotter lineup?
I think they're both really competitive drafts. I am a bit concerned for Team Spirit in that I feel like it's a really simple Abaddon game. On the draft panel, they're mentioning how PA can use a shard to break Tidehunter, but I believe you can shield that off. Alongside, you know, the Bane Grip, the Mars Spear, Wind Runner Shackle, there's a lot of things that Ollie can purge. However, sometimes you can overwhelm him, so I'm interested to see if Spirit's going for that role, because they saw the Abaddon once they committed to Wind Ranger.
They did. And you know, when you look at some of the lanes that we're going to get early on, is there anything you're maybe a bit concerned of, like any potential for one of these sides to really get ahead in the early minutes?
Personally, I don't like playing PA into Tidehunter. I feel like the dagger feeds him a lot of wand charges. I mean, it goes both ways with Anchor Smash, but I feel Tidehunter's a hero where if he gets enough levels, he can pressure PA out of the lane. I feel like he has eventual pressure in that if they both stay in the lane, he's going to push the tower. PA is not the best jungle farmer, so I feel like you have to be able to make aggressive moves. I look mid, you can't really gank a voice worth of PA TP. You can't really go to Ursa's lane, so I'm unsure. Maybe they'll be able to rotate the Wisp in early and snowball her. Maybe Windrunner will come up as BSJ was mentioning, but bit concerned for PA's lane.
Sure, and talking about like the Void Spirit in the mid lane, were you a little surprised that Spirit left that in and IG were still able to get that here?
Yeah, I was almost for sure that every single Spirit would get banned this game. I saw the supports on Team Spirit to IO Bane. I immediately thought to myself that they would pick something that jumps the back line. These are two range supports. I mean, Bane's a bit tanky, maybe even I was a bit tanky, but they're heroes where you have to get on top of them. However, like I'm sure they knew that as well. So they had a plan versus Void Spirit, and it looks like it's Wind Ranger. I'm interested to see how that comes out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, of course, as we heard from the panel in the lead up to this game, both of these teams' mids very vocal, which is what we like to see. Hopefully we'll get some sort of rivalry being built up through the duration of this series between Spirit and IG, and of course, specifically between Emo and Toronto Tokyo in the mid lane. We did have a brief pause, ladies and gentlemen, but it has come to an end, so we'll be able to shoot you now into the action as we get ourselves ready for Game 1 of IG versus Spirit. Let's see what we have coming up here as the first move from both sides. Definite first blood potential here. Without a doubt. We'll see how much they try and force it. And overall for these two teams, when you now look at the whole draft, what sort of timings are we going to be working towards? Is anyone looking to shut this down early? Is this a game where suddenly if it goes on, this PA is going to become uncontrollable? Like,
I think a lot of this game is going to come down to IG's Roche potential. Anytime you have the Ursa, you sort of have that. They have what I would normally consider like the superior team fight. And for Team Spirit side, I feel like this Wind Ranger or PA, one of the two cores has to sort of get out of control of this game. Honestly, maybe Collapse can do it. I've seen it as Mars. You know, it's top net worth in some of his games. He goes for that arm, that a bit more scale. But I actually agree with Brian in that whenever I see Wind Ranger or PA together, I'm a bit scared because as soon as Ursa gets MKB,
sure,
it's a double free counter. You're able to counter both heroes in the same way. Also, I generally don't like both my 1 and 2 doing the same type of damage. I feel like it makes it a bit easier to itemize against.
I mean, absolutely. And to the point, this game, if you're IG, I mean, if you're the Ursa, does this Ursa need a BKB at all this game? Is still the threat of the spear and the shackle enough to warrant that?
I'm not too sure. I think it depends a bit about how good his game is. I think most players right now, especially carries, are thinking about how can I hit the items that allow me to fight best. In this game, it might actually be something like a Diffusal Aghanim's. Like, this actually is stronger in the fight than BKB. However, if the game situation gets a little bit weird, I can see him saying that I need to BKB now so that I can bait for my Tidehunter to get off a good Ravage. If you're winning, you can sort of just be the one to go on your opponent in this game. You know, blink Ravage them. Maybe if they fall behind, he might have to be more of a tank.
Oh, we'll see. Of course, he's going to have some excellent backup from Ollie on the Abaddon, sustaining him and allowing Fly to go crazy in the fight. He's trying to stay on top of targets. We'll see both lanes here with the setup. JT and Kaka trying to put the pressure onto Yatoro. And he's going to have Maposhka by his side and down bottom. Oh yeah, Ollie backing up Fly against the Collapse. Mars and Mirror, Io lane. Spirit have been very, very strong in the past. I mean, and specifically, you know, we did hear at the start, so the surprise from Silent that the Collapse Mars was let through. What is it about Spirit that makes the game so good when they have Collapse on this hero?
Well, Silent actually did an interview where he talked about how Collapse is as a player, describing one word, and he said patience. I think that's exactly what Collapse brings to the team. He's always stable and he's patient. Mars is one of the heroes where you can wait for the perfect timing. You can wait to get the right team fight. I think that's what he excels at. I've seen multiple double spears from him, actually, or just being a bit patient on the arena, but as soon as he sees the opportunity, he collapses it, and then it allows Yatoro to go in with ease. They did manage to double wave onto Team Spirit in the bottom lane, so that let them get the hard pull off. I'm not too sure exactly how this lane is supposed to go, because usually... Oh, they're going to main here.
I was going to say Ollie.
Oh, sorry, the Abaddon.
Going to be quite low. We'll be able to step out with the Aphotic Shield.
Usually Ursa is seen as quite good versus these range heroes, but Isle gives your offlane a lot of regen, and Mars has 2 displacement spells, which sort of allow him to kite out hits from Ursa.
Yes, very hard to close the gap in onto Collapse, so for the most part we will see Fly just focusing on those creeps rather than wasting time trying to go for the Mars. Maybe if they can get Mirror separate, but for now Spirit playing very close to one another here, not leaving each other's side.
And Emo, he's pulling up out a bit in mid lane here. He's up quite a bit of CS and denies. This is the counter pick from Team Spirit. Anytime you win a lane against a counter pick, I feel like it throws the dynamic of the draft like way out of what the drafter expects.
Sure, because when you look at the matchup and as you say, the fact that it was their last pick, you would imagine that the Wind Ranger, the benefits they were looking for from this hero would be apparent in the laning stage. There's not necessarily anything else that stands out in this game that makes you think this is why they picked this hero.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good reasons to pick a hero. It doesn't always have to be the lane, but in this game in particular, it does feel like the laning does seem quite important for Team Spirit's lineup.
I will see how much that distance continues to grow between Emo and Toronto Tokyo in the matchup. See on the side lanes so far. Both carries having a pretty decent time. Fly's doing fine, same for Yatoro. Both 2 at the top of the CS. Very even from the offlaners.
So I think a lot of this tournament has about how you use your mid's first timing. To me right now, it feels like Voiceware's first timing is very clear. Like around that 8 to 10 minute mark, you get really strong, you get your ultimate, maybe some boots and a couple nulls. I haven't seen Wind Ranger a lot. I saw that Beast Coast was using it to pretty good effect this tournament, usually to counter Monkey King, but I'm not too sure what that hero's exact timing is. We do see Toronto Tokyo stealing its enemy's bounty rune, which is always nice.
top lane.
Oh, JT's taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah, a bit of setup on the JT, and he's taking a few tower hits with the brain stab. He ends up going down.
And that's exactly what Team Spirit need. You look at this matchup, PA versus Tidehunter. I would say this is very good for Tidehunter. But the thing about Dota is you can always outplay your opponent. A clutch sleep comes in from Oposhka, and all of a sudden they're looking good in this lane. He almost has treads on Yatoro, and maybe they can look to pull something aggressive. PA, if you get a lead in lane, she's incredibly aggressive. She has kill potential on almost anyone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, JT's going to have to be much more careful. Getting under the tower like he did just there, just not expecting the damage to be there from Oposhka and Yatoro this early. But another few tower hits, it certainly was. JT, it's got to be more cautious.
And JT, he actually has to be quite careful because this is around the time where mid laners are starting to get their 6s. He spent his TP scroll to get back to lane. I can see something happening where he gets left under the tower and Toronto Tokyo just TPs in as soon as he hits his level 6. He's still a bit far from it now, so it might not happen, but it's something to worry about. Even one Mira TP can swing this lane into complete oblivion.
Absolutely, it's definitely a lot scarier for JT up here than it is for Collapse down in the off lane for Spirit.
And a little bit low in action. I think we're pretty much looking at the mid lanes right now. When are they going to get their 6? When are they going to make their first rotation? Emo actually already has 6, and he's looking solo kill.
He's looking for it. Doesn't feel that he has enough damage with another step and a pulse. And probably would have indeed just been a bit short. Yeah, Fairy Fire at the ready on Toronto Tokyo. So Emo knows he can't go for it quite yet.
I would have liked Kaka to sort of rotate that towards this mid lane. I think maybe a little bit of communication that could have happened. He should have known that he was going to get 6 faster on a Void Spirit because he had so many more denies. Wind Ranger went to get his Bounce Rune, etc. They are both checking the Power Rune at 6 minutes. I think this will be the most fundamental point of the early game, the 6-minute Power Rune.
Absolutely, Kaka does have to be a bit careful as well. So bottom, fly. Each time as he closes in on the Collapse will get sent back, but now the Spirit already used fly. Trying to stay back on target, but again, God Tribute also allowing Collapse to create distance and get out of that. Let's see, 1k lead, just 1 kill right now, 6 minutes in. Okay. Just going to be able to take this one out. Oposhka's not going to be too happy about that, but nothing he can do on his own. Just got to head back to lane. Even though you look at the CS, it's still a very, very nice start. You know, Yatoro, Team Spirit across the board. They're 3 cores, just having the slightly better time.
Yatoro's actually level 6 already, which is looking really good for him. Honestly, a little bit of some mutual assured destruction standoff between the mid laners. Both of them feel like if they TP to a side lane and kill them, then the other one will react and get some counter kills there.
Well, this is going to be good to see as well. Yatoro, we did see some PA sort of earlier on in the tournament, right? And we were having this Maelstrom build, but this time round, Yatoro going for the classic, getting that Battle Fury online. Battle Fury AUI. You know, where does this hero stand nowadays? Yeah, you're happy to see this on the PA, or think it could be a bit of a risk here from Yatoro?
So I think Yatoro has a read on the game that his team is going to be able to fight without him. I think that's usually why you go for Battle Fury. It is one of the only carries left in Dota, I feel like, that can still go for the side item. Or most other heroes, I think you want these faster builds that allow you to, come into one team fight, help your team a little bit, and then start to scale. PA, she uses the full extent of this item. She needs a regen, she needs the damage, and the build is actually quite nice for her.
Let's see if it works. Battle Fury in 2021, it's pretty wild. It's always exciting to see, because if it pays off, Yatoro, he is going to be massive on the PA. And especially in a game where things are rather slow at the moment, time's certainly going to be there for him to hit the creeps. That's mid lane. Oh, a little off the mark there with a stun. Toronto Tokyo able to dodge it. Back up as well from Mira's IG. They won't be able to go for him anymore. In fact, Emo's got to be careful. They'll still have jumps and steps available, so they won't catch him.
And I think securing that haste rune onto Toronto Tokyo is just huge for his game here. Even if he chooses not to make a move with this haste rune, it makes it incredibly hard for the enemy team to push any sort of aggression. We can see JT, he's picked up the Helmet of Dominator at top lane, but if he pushes a bit too far, Yatoro's just going to TP with a haste and kill him, so he doesn't feel as comfortable pushing this tower.
I'll see 3 of them here going for the mid. What can they do about this? Yeah, doesn't look like much at all. 8 minutes in, they're taking away this tier 1 tower. Now Emo will come back over. Both supports ready to back up. Team Spirit instantly retreating. They don't want to try and push their luck there anymore. A lot of damage done, though, with that early siege. These moments passing, though, and yeah, Yatoro, it's a lot of space. Emo is going to start shifting over to the top half of the map. They've managed to find themselves the vein. Maposha, that'll be a quick one, but it's going to give the info for Yatoro. He knows that they're around. He's going to keep himself into the jungle, not showing himself in the lane. Bottom lane, Collapse having a great time. Has that armlet finish, so very beefy and dishing out a lot of damage. Some solid kill potentially that makes it rather difficult for Fly to farm into. He knows if he pushes himself too far, the burst from this Mars is going to be pretty significant with that quick armlet.
Yeah, and I think this is sort of offlaner meta right now. The first item you give sort of builds off this Helm of Iron Will. It gives you some armor, some regen. Tide has gone for the Helm of the Dominator, which allows him to push his tower a little bit earlier. Collapse has gone for the Armlet, which allows him to maybe scale a little bit harder, get some more damage. However, IG, they're faster at pushing this tower. They have more options than their opponent now. They know that top tower's dead, so they can decide whether they want to go for mid tower trade or defend bottom.
Let's see what they do with this. We see around the mid, Toronto Tokyo. He's going to be able to chase him down. Finds Ollie. You see Fly look to try and punish, but the Windrun's going to be back up in a couple of seconds. Toronto Tokyo is more than okay. Quick and easy kill there with the rundown of the focus fire. The space is made. Spirit will get that trade on the tier 1 down bottom for the top that they've just lost.
I'm honestly a bit surprised that they didn't go for the tower defense. I mean, Windrunner, she used her ulti, but IG, they are a team that likes to play a lot for their own heroes' timings. Like, they'll wait till they have all their items, and they've actually decided this is brilliant. They're combining the HOTD from Tidehunter with the Ursa to kill an early Roshan. So instead of defending like bottom tower, they're getting their own objectives. This is actually very smart. I did not see this at all.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, Spirit and even going to check this out. They've got a bit of a hold on. Onto Kaka, and Kaka, actually going to get the Hex off. He's able to get the stun on him. Maposhka, the backup's in from Molly with a miscoil. Kaka's going to be fine. Maposhka goes down. And IG more than enough space to secure that Roche for Fly. As Fly will step out there proud with the Aegis. Move straight over to the mid tier 1. IG hitting some good early objective timings.
And they understand exactly what they need to do on IG. They understand their lineup. It needs to play around Roshan. So what they do, we don't care if you take bot tower. We're going to trade a bigger objective for it. And then they're chaining objectives. Kaka, I mean, this man's been playing probably one of the best lines in the world for like 4 years.
Collapse, he steps in. JT, no hesitation, ravage into a finger. I mean, why not? We're 11 minutes in. It's only been a couple of kills so far, really. Just blow these ults, secure a core kill. And Collapse just caught in the mid lane, and I don't think he was expecting them to commit as they did, but they certainly do, as they blow up the Mars and he's out.
I do really like that too, you know. I think a lot of players in Dota, they think, oh, Ravage, Finger is such a long cooldown, I need to save it for the perfect team fight. It's actually way better to be able to use your spells to create an advantage. As long as you understand that you do not have these spells after and play like off that info, you'll get much more advantage that way.
I mean, but overall, though, in a game where the kills are this low, how much of a concern should it be for IG that Yatoro is going to have a pretty darn good timing on this Battle Fury Treads opening on the PA?
I mean, I do feel like this is a bit better than PA would be expected to do off the draft. Oh, top lane, they're relocating in.
Oh, they've got
Did
the
it damage?
See with the focus fire. He should do so. JT trying to hide, but they've got him. Shackles down. He's pretty tanky. Not tanky enough. They'll take him out just before the relocate takes them back out. Miposhka, of course, has been left behind. And Emo will look to take him down in trade. Also, having Ollie to help him out as Miposhka will try and run, but trapped in the trees. No safety for him to be found.
Even that little Satyr Banisher coming out from JT from the grave. He's been microing his creep and helped him on the last impulsion kill, and secured the kill on Bane this time. That was a really good play from Spirit, because I feel like they're sort of on the back foot. And usually when you're on the back foot or weaker than your opponent, you want to be able to like dodge them. But the best play is actually to make an aggressive move and force a reaction from the enemy team. They poke tight on top, they end up having the damage to kill, and they bring a lot of IG's heroes to the top lane. Now PA, he TP bottom away from all the danger. He's able to farm all the way up to his Battle Fury.
I mean, I think Yatoro is going to be very happy. He's getting the space. Timings are being hit. As long as he can sort of secure that next item after the Battle Fury before IG step it up. This PA is going to be in solid position to scale very, very nicely this game. And the same to be said really for the other two cores. It's so close as well. I mean, all 6 cores really, as you can see, just around the 6 to 6.5k net worth. Everybody's getting sufficiently farmed.
Yeah, and Emo, he's actually gone for the Witch's Blade. This is one of the things that sort of counters both PA and Windrunner. You get that True Strike on your first hit, a little bit of Magical Burst. And JT on the Tidehunter, he's actually not going for a Blink Dagger because Kaka, he's having a pretty decent game. He's actually only 500 gold from his own Blink Dagger. They're looking to play more of a ball-up lineup with Kaka responsible for all the catches on the map.
Yeah, for sure. And they want to go now that the Diffuser Blade's done. See Mirror. Oh, it's that TP! A little too long as Mirror. Will be a free catch here for IG.
And I feel this is a little bit of the awkward part about having Battle Fury on your carry. I mean, Yatoro, he's happy for himself, but right now, IG have the timing. They can run into his camps. They can steal his Ancients. I mean, he farmed them before they got there, which is good by them. But it's not easy to farm camps once you have Battle Fury at this level of Dota.
IG, they are still hunting though. We want more than just the IO. Kaka showing bottom.
He's only 300 gold away from his Blink Dagger, so his team has identified them and they're giving him the space to get that item. As soon as he gets that Blink Dagger, I think it's go time for IG. Oh, that was close.
That was indeed the micro. Now he's setting up for the Centaur stun.
Mid lane, there's no tower to TP to here.
See if they got the damage. They'll look for the arena setup onto JT. He's going to have to pop the Ravage. Will that actually allow him to get out of there? It will. Ollie's going to be able to back up the shield of the coil, healing JT back up. Ravage has been expended, but it saves JT's life here. Nobody going down on IG. And that is the Blink Dagger done on Kaka, ready for the next move.
Not a lot of kills this game, but I feel like both teams are feeling a little bit tense, you know? We had an Arcane Rune of Void Spirit earlier, Haze from the Wind Ranger, but it feels hard for them to make these moves.
See, Firefly does want to try and go for Miposhka here, but only a couple of seconds literally on the Aegis, so he'll have to hold back. You're definitely feeling that a little bit more from IG though. They want to fight. They do not want to give the chance for Yatoro's farming build to kick off.
And also, I'm surprised how well all 3 of the cores on Spirit have been able to keep up their farm this game. In specific, Wind Ranger, I feel like this hero, she doesn't usually get this many creeps or this much space, but Team Spirit, they've been sort of poking them across the map, bringing him into ganks only through relocate. And this has allowed him to scale really well into this game.
And IG, they're just desperate for blood.
They do have that Blink Dagger on Kaka. They want to hunt people. They want to start these fights.
So if they can maybe get a jump on Collapse. Collapse is into the trees. He's able to turn with the spear. The Hex is in. Team Spirit, they're TPing over though. Remnant into the finger. They're looking to burst Collapse. Collapse is going to be kept alive momentarily by the Night Member. Finally it falls. They lose Fly in return though. And Spirit, they might be ready to chase him for more. Jump over towards Ollie. The feed grip onto Emo. They lock down the Void Spirit. The heal of the Mist Coil nowhere near enough to save him. As Yatoro turning up, double kill AUI on both the cores, getting the carry and the mid. I mean, I think Yatoro's having saw the early game of his life here on this PA. Goes to Battle Fury, he's turning up, getting kills. This is as good of a start as he gets up now.
Yeah, no, this is a dream PA game. If you can buy Battle Fury and take fights, you're being greedy while contributing to your team. Like, that's on his ulti a lot longer. He has 3 seconds off ulti at the end there. They just didn't have vision for Kaka to get that Hex off on the class. He did a good job fogging. Got off that really clutch spear, and his spear with the quick reactions, they're able to turn it around.
They can't really afford for another move like that to fail IG.
Ooh, I like this coming out from Collapse. He's not going for Blink Dagger. These teams are both sort of respecting the ball-up nature of each other's lineups, or how IG want to play. Ooh. Good pick off.
Poshka did try and dodge that last bit of damage here. We'll see the DD rune, and they're going to go for it. Toronto Tokyo has already been able to pick it up in the ball of Collapse. He's got the arena down. Emo will look to jump out to the side, but Kaka's left stuck in.
And honestly, IG, they're looking a little shaky here. They really wanted to get their Blink Dagger timing. When you get your timing, you want to go fight your opponent. When Collapse pulls off a clutch spear like that in the last engagement, it sort of shatters your conception of how you want to play your game. It disrupts your flow. Kaka, you know, a little bit alone on the Blink Lion. Usually you want to play with your allies, your damage, when you have that Blink Dagger up. And Collapse, he's going for what I like to call like the OG Dota. You buff your carry up, you give him a good game, and then you buy items to make his net worth even more. He's just going for that Vlad's. The armor helps against all 3 of the cores on IG, and It's looking good. I mean, it makes Mars tanky because he has this armlet, he has God's Rebuke, and when he uses that with the Vlads, he gets so much HP back.
I mean, and it feels like the next fight, Spirit are going to hit this very strong timing. BKB completing out on his way for Toronto, Tokyo. The BKB for Yatora, only a couple of hundred gold away. Bottom, Miposhka's got the setup. Catches out Emo. I mean, it is looking pretty scary. It's only 1k in it, but it's for the state of the game, it feels so much more worse than the numbers are showing, AUI.
It does. I mean, IG, they're not auto this by any means. I would say this game is still pretty even, honestly. They have a lot of team on their side, but Poshka, he's just doing such a fantastic job. He's playing Bane the way that you want to play Bane. He's going up to the side, he set up the pick off onto Tidehunter top. Now he catches Emo on the bottom lane. However, Roshan is up. This is something we've seen time and time again. Whenever Dire makes a play on the bottom side of the map, Radiant are really quick to just pop into that Roshan pit, especially with the Ursa.
All right, well, let's see what they can do with this. There's a smoke from Spirit coming out. Not quite heading towards the Roshan, though, so it looks like IG will be able to finish this for themselves. Claim that shard and the Aegis. Let's see what they can get done this time round. Last Aegis, not able to really do or take that much away from Spirit. And you can see Spirit, in fact, continue with the smoke. Even though Roshan is taken, they still feel strong. They've got these BKBs.
Exactly, they have their timing here, they want to force a fight.
They're going to get the opening. Kaka jumps in with the stun. Toronto Toko's going to just go straight towards JT. In with the BKBs, they're onto the time. Ollie gets taken out. JT to fall as well. Then we have buyback from Ollie. Flyfly's going to be the new focus here. Collapse spears it back. Collapse still has the arena to play with if he needs to. Flyfly taken down the ones. Kaka missing the stun. Arena's out. They've caught them all. Collapse locks them in. The heals from Mira keeping Collapse alive. The triple kill for Yatora. Ultra kill for Yatora. Emo, the last man left standing here for IG. As he hides in the trees. Toronto Tokyo looking to see if he can get the catch. We just eliminate down up the tree line. In fact, over the power shot. We'll see him. Remember the Remnant, TP out, Emo. Whoa, he's not going to make it away. They get him as well. Spirit, they take down everyone, plus more. It was a dieback from Ollie. As what a fight for Spirit to take. And that was the Aegis fight for IG again, AUI. It ends disastrously once more.
And I think this is the mark of an amazing Dota team. When the enemy has something like an Aegis or they're up a hero, you understand your timing, you understand your strength. It doesn't matter that they have Aegis. The BKBs came up and Tidehunter, he couldn't even get Ravage off. There's just a BKB winner and PA focusing the perfect target and they wipe IG. This game's looking good for Spirit now. They use their BKB timings perfectly.
I mean, the fact as well, this whole fight collapsed, just holding the arena, and then has it here for this last moment where, you know, IG, they figure that they've got some sort of power to be able to get back in on the action, but they don't at all.
And now Collapse. He's finished off that Vlad, he's going for his own BKB. There's going to be triple golden cores on Team Spirit. I'm not too sure how IG want to take this fight. Tidehunter doesn't have a Blink Dagger, so he sort of was all-inning and double-downing on the ball factor that they had. You know, Void Spirit would jump in for him. They would come into Void Spirit, try to jump back, and he would counter-initiate with the Ravage. If they have BKBs, you cannot do that.
The upcoming fights, they just feel so hard. So hard for IG. They have to get the jump.
And look at Miposhka. He's solo smoking down just to get some vision, set up the next fight. He understands that his team are stronger, so this vision is worth its weight in gold. Any fight they can force on vision, they'll be able to win this game.
IG playing very cautious here. They know if one of them gets caught alone by that Bane, the relocate follow-up will be in. 13-7 though, 5k lead Spirit. They have their ults good to go once more. I think Yatora, that should be the completed Desolator on its way out. It is. So Deso BKB Battle Fury just 23 minutes in on the PA. Level 18 as well. Yeah, pretty much 19.
Yeah, he's going for that shard that
goodness.
BSJ mentioned on the panel. Yep. As soon as he has this, any jump onto Tidehunter is a kill. Oh.
Fly just getting killed off top. What was he doing up here?
Just a blink reveal on the Wind Ranger gets pretty much a solo call. I mean, Isle's there, but
He was pretty far up on his own.
He was. And Team Spirit, they have all the momentum right now. They've won the last fight. They're controlling the map. Look how huddled up around mid IG are. They feel like they cannot go to the sidelines versus Bane, who's been constantly picking them off, versus Isle, who can relocate on them now. And now Toronto Tokyo, he's sort of shown the force of Wind Ranger. You split up versus heroes, you're just going to keep dying over and over. I don't know if they can win if they just huddle around mid though. They're not going to be able to farm the map enough. They have to find a way to force a fight where they get a good Ravage. And you see JT, he's queued up that Blink Dagger beside the Ghost Hunter. Not sure which one he's going to get next, but I think they need to go for the clutch, you know? They need to go for the double core Ravage to burst. Because the fights, they look really hard right now.
Oh, they really do. Team Spirit just able to take these tier 2s, no answer from IG.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
How are they going to deal with this Phantom Assassin? Yutoro, during that BKB, he is going to be jumping from target to target. A couple of crits and not many heroes on IG are going to really stand a chance at all. We've even seen BKBs be long enough of a duration for them to focus down even the tanky heroes such as JT's Tide.
Okay, so here's IG's timing. They chose to go for the Blink Dagger Tide to go for the clutch. They went for the Aghanim's on the Void Threat. I think they need to smoke and take a fight here. The smoke's on Kaka. They're grouping up a bit.
Absolutely. Sitting back against this PA will not do them any good. But then again, will fighting them either. Emo will dodge the spear. As soon as he catches wind of them being up here, he's out. Not an ideal way for IG to try and force an approach to the fight. Now they'll go for the smoker. We'll see where Spirit's going to look to head back and take sort of position around.
A line drawn by Fly. He's the Ursa. He wants to control which way the smoke goes. They understand that. They need vision of the fight. Get off a good Blink Ravage or good Hex. But Spirit, they understand the situation. They have all the information on the map because of bottom lane pushing in, and they're just hiding behind their tier 2, saying, if you do not connect the smoke, we are going to win this game.
Spirit, they know exactly what IG feels they're forced to do right now to get themselves back in, and they are not leaving any opportunities for mistakes to happen here. Completely grouped up, playing around this top lane, far from the presence of IG. IG just cannot get that setup onto them. Spirit, time to push another tier 2 tower. We'll see if IG want to try and take something here. Still continuing to move around the map as 5, but not really able to find any sort of objective or goal. We'll get the outpost back at least. Spirit. See how much they want to try and push this. They're very, very strong. They could definitely start threatening a high ground here with the Desolator on Yutoro. BKB done on Collapse as well.
Oh, and you see that? They just showed themselves on the high ground, bait out the TP's back from IG, and Spirit, super disciplined, already out of there. They understand they don't need to really do anything but wait for the next objective, but they don't want to wait. They're Team Spirit. They want to go. They force them back top. That means bottom's going to be vulnerable. We've moved all your pieces out of position, and we want to catch the carry here.
Spirit. I mean, IG, they want to start something. They smoke up as well themselves. Collapse. Quickly get rid of the Helm of the Dom creep. Nemo does have this invis to give them that early vision whilst the smoke gets dispelled on the front. They're going to get the Hex on the Yutoro, jump in the finger. They're looking to burst the PA now. The JT in with the Ravage, catches them all. This is the fight that IG were looking for. As Maposhka goes down. Fly and Nemo pushing back Mirror. Collapse will go for the BKB TP out, but Mirror and Toronto Tokyo will continue to be chased. Remnant not quite going to have the reach to grab Mirror. They get the other 3 out of there, but finally IG able to hit back with a solid start. Invis from Emo allowing them to set up. They see the exact position of Yutoro, and this time Kaka's able to get that opening.
An incredible patience coming in there from IG. They spent the last, 5-10 minutes of the game just waiting for their time, waiting for that one time where PA will go into position. And Yutoro, you know, maybe a little bit too optimistic. His blur came off and they just weren't quite ready for it. The thing about this game is if they jump and kill PA, there's not that much to save him. You think, oh, maybe the Nightmare made a relocate, but it's a Tidehunter jumping. So you have that cover of the Ravage and Spirit that can't save their PA, all of a sudden their damage won't come out from the cores anymore. And they wisely decide to get out.
It was an excellent jump from JT, catching them all, giving them that opportunity to make sure that IG, even though they don't get more than just the 2 kills, they get the fight in a state where Spirit, they have to be the ones that run this time.
And now it's all about the Roshan. All the teams, they're going to consolidate all their resources, try to get the Silence in the best position, and then try to think about this next objective. This is the 3rd Roshan. Both the Refresher and the Egg and the Scepter upgrade can be game-breaking. I do like what Emo has done. Like, they want to kill Roshan, so how he makes the play better is he uses his boots to travel bottom, farms a little bit on the area, and just creates some lane pressure. The best way to get something in Dota, it's like similar to the last smoke. You can move your enemy to another side and then attack them where they're weak.
Just under 20 seconds here for that Roche spawn. Spirit in the better position to hold the control around the area. IG, they're absolutely going to want to push them out of this safe space. They've got 15 seconds till Ravage. Let's see if IG can bring that fight again around such a crucial objective.
And the Roshan's up. I don't think IG scouted it, but they know.
They know they're in it.
Ooh, hey, Srun.
It's up to Kaka and JT how they jump. When do they want to commit Emo? He's going to try and go for the back lines. Have to use both steps to get in and get out here. Yatora and Collapse, they're going to continue to go to work on the Roshan.
And honestly, a pretty big cooldown from Void Spirit there.
I mean, JT's trying to step in, but the Shackle's in. The Eon just is going to protect Toronto Tokyo here from the finger. The beacon comes out and focus JT. JT's going to get down. They take him out. No chance for a Ravage as JT not around now for this Roshan objective. As Spirit, they'll continue to finish it. They'll pick it all up. Aegis, it's there for Yatoro. Over to Wally they go. The Abaddon takes a hit from the crits of Yatoro. Emo, he's got to run as well, but the spear, the angle, perfect from Collapse as he pins Emo to the tree line.
Brilliant team fighting coming out from Team Spirit. Yatoro with, Toronto Tokyo with his freshly finished Aeondis. He manages just, he's skirting on the side. You think that's a Wind Ranger, but he gets his Aeondis pop and he holds his BKB for the precise moment where Kaka jumps. They jump, they pop their BKBs as a Spirit, and they wipe 3 of IG's heroes, and now they're going high ground.
I mean, they are. 40 seconds, no Emo. And they have the Aegis. They got the refresher shot as well on Yatoro. He's probably going to pass it over. Yeah, he's going to give it to Toronto Tokyo. He's got more slots to play with. Tier 3 down. The Rex as well looks to be falling. IG, they do not have a fight to put together whilst their mid's out of the game. They may have the Ravage back up, but they need everything to be able to tackle, or at least have a chance of tackling Spirit head on. As Spirit, they'll take the melee ranks, they'll back up. Now to 10k lead and feeling in a very solid position right now.
And I gotta say, it's looking hard for IG to get the fight that they want. They got that one near mid lane, but Team Spirit's lineup, once they get ahead, they have so much side lane pickoff that's not easy to get these side lanes and get information in order to get the right fight. You see Emo, he's desperately trying to get this bottom lane out, using his ultimate just to push out the wave a bit faster. But the rest of the team, they have to huddle around mid. When you're huddled like this, it means that only one of your heroes can really get farm at a time. And as you can see, the net worth, there's just such a big divide now.
Yatoro, the Battle of Fury PA has looked fantastic this game. Yatoro identifying that this would be the game for it to pay off. He knew what he could get away with, and he absolutely has. Collapse off the mark here with a spear. The Shackle still hits. See what more they have to offer. Kaka's going to jump in. Holds back the 2 of them with a Hex and the stun. We'll go for the Ghost Step to the TP out, but the Nightmare's in. Naposhka keeps Kaka held back.
Good save from Kaka there, though. Void Spirit actually used both his Astro Steps and his Dissimulate, so he didn't have anything else to get out. Kaka sort of throwing his body for his cores there.
Time for the base push. 2 minutes and a half left on Yatoro's Aegis. They're going to try and jump in, burst him a quick time with the Nightmare and the Tether. It's in. Yatoro's going to be fine. Arena's down. They've locked in the 3 of them. Focus flash from Toronto. They go to them. They get the 3. JT's gone again. No chance for a Ravage. As the Tide Hunter gets destroyed by Spirit's incredible physical damage. The Phantom Knives as well from Yatoro. 2 in the work. Now the Ravage comes out. Finger follow-up is there with the heals. He's back up to full HP. Collapse is good to go. JT and Diver on the Tide. As Spirit will push on. The mid tier 3 and Rex is going to be all theirs in the game as well. GG is called.
Wow, incredibly well played by Spirit. Just everything they had to do this game, they were able to identify, follow through. And honestly, Yatoro, he made PA look like a good hero. This is not one of the heroes picked often at the main event, but this was something special.
It really was. Wind Runner and PA. Yeah, 11-1 and 5 on Yatoro, 5-0-15 on Toronto, Tokyo. And I think IG is going to be pretty shaken up after this game one, right? It was clear what they wanted to try and achieve and do here with this lineup around the Ursa, with the Tide. They just never could find those fights out. We saw them struggle so hard to ever catch Team Spirit by surprise.
Yeah, and it was just all Team Spirit's players. I want to especially mention Miposhka, because Bane, I don't think it's usually a fancy hero that you can see such high impact though. He caught cores on the sidelines, he played the fights perfectly, got the right saves. Just an amazing job coming out from Miposhka.
Yeah, well, what a way to start the series there for Spirit. IG, they've got to come back in with something completely different. As Spirit, it seemed like they knew exactly what was coming their way, and they just dealt with it seamlessly. As Team Spirit will take this game one.
Thank you very much, AY and OD Pixel. Indeed, game one going the way of Team Spirit. And before the series started, we highlighted the mid matchup, but I think we should highlight a different matchup for this first game. Gods, it's the offlaners.
Whew.
Mars versus Tide.
Yep.
It was quite the brawl. Collapse Mars. There's a reason why he's first phase banned so many times. Probably first phase banned again for game 2.
Yeah, I was talking to Sammy. So like a month before TI, I started doing some TI prep. I started a Google spreadsheet. I kind of forget about it after 5 minutes. I get distracted by something. 2 or 3 weeks gone by. I open the sheet again. My only note on there was Team Spirit. Collapse, best Mars. That was literally my only note.
That's your TI
and
prep?
it was very relevant. Even a month later, it's like, yeah, this guy's still the best Mars.
It's like size 60 font, that's just print that one off, bring it to Bucharest, off you go.
It was incredible. I loved seeing, of course, the Collapse Mars, but also the JT Tide, because the game was very even for a lot of this. And it was just team fight upon team fight, the fight in the mid lane, when Team Spirit was searching for that fight, and then IG was already hiding in the trees and got that good Ravage for a potential comeback on that game trend. This was a great first game.
Yeah, and one thing that made the comeback so difficult too was just the positioning for both Miposhka and Mira. I think like double saving supports there, and some people make Bane look like a saving support and others don't. Miposhka, the way they just sent Collapse in, just like go forth. He didn't have a blink till the very end of that game. He would just stand there. You talk about Puppy and Team Secret making the wall. Collapse was the wall this game. He just sits, he waits, they initiate, and someone's there to back him up.
Yeah, and we spend so much time talking about, the versatility of Ritaro or, the Collapse Mars, but Miposhka, I think this is his 4th Bane game now, undefeated so far at TI on the hero, and you can see it as well, like the nuances of how he uses the sleep. Not every time, like he's dodging these key spells. When he was trying to gank a Tide Hunter, he'd preemptively sleep his own hero in the hope to dodge a Ravage. Like there were so many small things Miposhka was doing, even smoking aggressively, right? Like when IG utilized that Helmet Dominator on Tide with the Ursa to get that quick first Aegis, you instantly see Miposhka in the enemy jungle, putting down these wards, knowing that the game plan is dodge them for now, wait for the Battle Fury to come online, wait for that break from the Shard, and hit that mid-game timing. So Miposhka, for sure, 100%, in my opinion, as a support player, he's the MVP because he did the small things to enable the core players to do the big things.
Yeah.
Analysis.
And all those timings, I feel like came up way faster than I expected. I thought that Tide lane was going to cause PA problems, but the PA just free farmed away. So I feel like, IG have to look at like that their off lane and think, yeah, JT had a big impact in the mid game, but this Lion Tide lane looked very underwhelming.
Yeah, and that's an IG game, and that there was a Kaka Lion. I mean, that's been the discussion every single time that they've played, right?
Is it a liability? The fact that Lion is not like a first pick hero, really. But they didn't prioritize first pick. I believe it was Spirit who chose second pick. But I don't think you feel good about first picking a Lion. You don't really feel like you're getting value out of that first pick when you take a Lion, a hero that Spirit have no interest in picking.
Yeah, it was a very quiet early game as well. The first 10 minutes only had 2 kills on the boards or something like that, which, compare it to, for example, a game we saw yesterday between Spirit and Virtus Pro, very different. It was just a little quiet trend, and that eventually helped Team Spirit more than it even did IG, which, in my opinion, normally would be swapped around.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, good news when you're going for Battle Fury, right? I mean, we had our helpful insight. I don't know what it is with Avo. He's got like, little whispers coming in from everywhere, but he's like, well, on stream, actually, he said that build is bad when you go Falcon Blade Maelstrom, and it's only for people who can't find farm. Well, he can find farm, and he had time to do it.
He definitely had time to do it as well. Of course, there will be a game 2. So a chance for IG to force out that third game and keep themselves alive in this competition. We'll have that very soon. But first, we are going to check in with Purge.
Thank you, Shiver. Yeah, so the meta has been changing pretty quickly in the last couple games, but the hero that seems to be the hero of the day, even though I know PA is very on your minds right now, it's probably Tiny. Tiny's been absolutely dominant from the beginning of the tournament towards now, but he feels a little bit more relevant, possibly pushed up to first ban territory. And that is because of his new level 15 talent. It increases his tree grab damage by 15%. So that means if you add it with the bonus that he already gets, we're talking a 35% damage increase for any damage items he buys, which is way more than any other typical carry buys. So he's always been really good at killing buildings. We know that. That's been standard. But this damage bonus really adds up when you put it on top of things like the Silver Edge that's been buffed, does crit damage now, does bonus damage on the first hit. And that's on top of the other benefits that Tiny already had for all of time. Tons of magic burst. Now he's got physical burst. That makes him good at carrying, at burst killing, at killing towers. He's got high HP. He's got high armor from his ulti. He even has status resistance at level 20. He doesn't have to buy that either. And then on top of that, he's also getting more buffs from his teammates. Any attack speed increase is buffed by 35%. It just stacks up in a huge way. And that is exactly why we have not seen Tiny in 2 games. He has just been too fearsome so far. He's out of the game. Maybe we'll see him later today, though. Back to you guys.
I don't think we'll see him later today, Purge. That hero, you are absolutely right. It's gonna be first phase banned. We saw it have a incredible crit, like the highest crit we've seen so far. I forgot what the number was, but earlier today in the upper bracket finals, I don't think we're gonna see that Tiny again, for sure. Anybody want to make a counter argument? Let it through because you think you can counter it?
And I think in a few days, Tiny, Ice Frog's coming for you.
Yeah.
He's coming for you. He's watching this and he's like, Ice Frog, he's going to have a few words to say about what's going on here.
It'll be the rework, right? They'll just remove the tree grab. It'll just spell and it'll be like, what happened? But that's the beauty of post-TI patch.
Get your games in while you can.
Yeah.
Get your games in while you can, indeed. IG is definitely not going to get their hands on the Tiny, I think. So for game 2, they're going to have to think about something else because they also can't give away the Mars. I think that's quite simple. Looking forward to game 2, what's the main thing? Was it draft related, you feel, that IG needed to change, T?
No, I'd say this was the idea that, minute 19, that second Roshan, the way in which IG was able to get the first one for free, they had that kind of confidence from the second one as well, because Spirit was smoking into the opposite direction. And it's kind of that ruthlessness of having a timing, BKB Windrunner, BKB PA, and going into that try camp, and IG got relaxed, right? When you pick up that Aegis for the second time, you're kind of hitting the beats of what your draft wants to do. And then suddenly, out of the fog, the entirety of, Eastern European representation at TI appears out of nowhere, slaps you out of the game, and you're like, oh, whoa, what are we doing? Like, that type of play is exactly what Spirit needed to do, right? So I feel like Spirit is just reading the game well and knowing when to utilize their timings, like, much better than IG in that game.
Yeah, I also want to highlight the IO still. I mean, Team Spirit's lineup, it just felt like after the start, it felt like it could do whatever Team Spirit wanted. And with the IO could pair up with the Wind Ranger, IO could pair up with the PA. They were able to set that tempo as high as they wanted to, Trent.
Yeah, that could be a hero to look towards to actually try and shut down Collapse as well, because like the Myers was really good, obviously, but this build with the Armlet is really enabled when you have that IO. You saw it several times in the game, so we've talked to death about the idea of strength heroes and Armlet and how good it is.
Thank you, Trent.
Yeah, no problem. But I think that maybe you take care of the Mars, but if you don't do that, I would definitely not want the IO to be there as well, because I can actually see him suffer without the IO. It gives you like a second facet of capabilities when you have that save to be there, because you saw how delayed the blink was. That's not as easy to do without the IO.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think as well is the idea that IO drafts, like we saw at the very start of the tournament, it's like IO gyro. When you have that one person you're trying to connect with, it's very hard because if everything gets locked down, you're kind of nothing, right? You're null and void. But having multiple pairings, it just opens up your game to have a good time. In laning phase, you're able to carry. In mid game, you're enabling, this maybe Leshrac style hero or Windrunner, right? Or into late game, anyone who's doing well, you connect with. So I like the idea of the adaptation or the improvement of IO drafts throughout TI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it really opens up so many new heroes, and also the Mars blocks so many heroes. Like, you don't want to play those range carries like the Lina into the Mars. The passive just really negates so many potential IG picks.
Yeah, we got the players taking their pods once again for game number 2 here on the main stage. We got ourselves 7 first-timers on this stage, by the way. 4 on the side of Team Spirit, 3 on the side of IG. Did you know, IG trivia, did you know that IG, I mean, this is the 8th international for this organization, right? It's crazy. They've done very well. They won TI2, of course. But this is the first time that they appear at an international with a fully different roster than the previous international they attended. Obviously, of course, exception of TI1, because that was the first, so of course they were all new. But yeah, interesting. It was a different way, a different road for IG that they went, and they, of course, founded this roster at TI right after TI9. This team didn't actually attend TI9 itself, but after that, this roster has formed, and they've stuck together. 2 years and a couple of months. I won't, exaggerate too much, but 2 years and a couple of months is a very long time, Gods.
Yeah, it is. And I think partly why is probably because they found success very quickly with the new roster. They went to, I think, the first minor and then the major, the MDL major, got 3rd place with a brand new roster, getting 3rd place, like your first big event. I think for IG, when they've got this younger, new roster, was really kind of promising. So they're like, okay, we're going to stick this out. Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. They had to wait an extra year for TI, but sticking it out, obviously, really paying off.
Yeah. It really did.
I'd say just roster stability in general, right? I think teams have realized that changing a player every other week or so, or every season, it isn't really going to get you to TI. Some orgs right now are looking from home like, what have we done to our rosters? We kind of like butchered them a little bit. So I feel like these rosters that are able to stick together and kind of become more than just a team and become actual friends in and out of the game, that's what really pushes you to that next level and, that top 4 contention at TI.
So how will that affect the shuffle?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, that's the thing, right? We've already got Quincy have said that things are maybe being split up a little bit, I don't know. But post-TI shuffles are always very fun, but, the best teams can stick through it and survive through the expected shuffle. If you think you're good enough and can still have room to grow, like, for example, like Undying, right? They did really well throughout season. If they stick together, maybe they could become a stronger NA team, right? But the imminent shuffle can always, destroy a team.
And people didn't think IG were winners of the shuffle. They kind of, partly why they ended up grabbing 2 Malaysian players is because they couldn't get the, the big star players from China. They found some great pickups with Ollie and JT, and I think they did a great job scouting some promising talent, but most people didn't see IG as this new all-star roster when it came to the Chinese Dota scene.
Yeah, and I know T says that the shuffle is always a lot of fun. It's fun from a viewer perspective. For the players, this is, that it can only be gut-wrenching. Like, because not everybody is in the know of who goes where, so you don't know if you're safe or if you're not safe, and if you're going to survive the culling. Who knows who's the weakest link in the team, right?
Yeah, no TI after party means that's the biggest networking event of the year. So
oh, I didn't even think about that.
Exactly. So just to inform the viewers, normally at a TI, right, there's an after party. Like, congratulations, you won, woo. But normally that's where like player A and player B sits at a table, drinking a mojito or whatever, and they're like, "Ooh, you want to play with us next season? Okay, cool. Signs contract."
You guys didn't get the invitation. We're having one giant Zoom call this year.
Oh,
actually.
wow.
What? We're just everyone's going to talk at the same time.
But if we didn't get the conversation, does that mean? Are we out?
Sorry, guys.
That honestly will change up some of the roster shuffles, right?
That's true.
In regards to, just to be clear, that's normally like the top tier of Dota teams. That's what happens. Of course, when you go to tier 2 and lower, it's more of like a, hey mate, you wanna come play? It's like, yeah, sure,
I'll see what else is out there, but maybe you.
Yeah, I'll come back to you next week. Oh, I've got no offers. Yeah, I'll play with you, man. I'm with you.
That being said, though, traditionally, at the top of TI doesn't really change too much because they have found already a lot of success. One of these 2 teams will actually make it to the top 3. Will it be Spirit or will it be IG?
Invictus Gamer versus Team Spirit. Game 2.
Thank you very much. Suns fan here with BSJ and Insania for game number 2. Spirit wins it in pretty convincing fashion. They are so fun to watch, I have to say. I've cast a lot of them since the Ana Major, and they've kind of had their ups and downs, but they have grinded probably more than any other team, I feel like. They've been in like literally every tournament, and they are 1 game away from making it to the grand finals, gentlemen, or the lower bracket finals. Getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, there's just some magic in the air about this team.
I think like at some point, I think we are all guilty of this, but you look at the player names, you recognize some more than the others, so you tend to like give them more respect or expect more from them. But I think when it reaches this deep into the tournament, you kind of forget, right? You're just watching the heroes and how they're moving and how they're playing, and they're playing extremely well. They are like definitely deserving of being here in the top 4, and they're proving it. I think this was one of the quickest games I've ever seen throughout this tournament.
Yeah, we're already seeing a collapse respect band, gentlemen. Mars.
Yeah, you can't give him that. I didn't think the Wind Ranger was going to apply enough pressure in the early game last game, but the Mars, like the rushed armlet with the IO, the tower pressure was immense. The rotations were so simple. He didn't even need a blink since most of the IG heroes were immobile in the Abaddon as well as the Tidehunter. And when I watched these two teams in the upper bracket, it really did seem like IG had their number. Team Spirit did eke out the first game with those crazy plays, but it's just a completely different atmosphere going into this one. You can feel Team Spirit's momentum carrying through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the series where they played in the upper bracket, Team Spirit were kind of allowing IG to set pace. IG was allowed to control the pace of the game, and they were the ones deciding what happens in the game. But I think the VP series really taught Spirit the importance of like, we need to be in control of what happens. Because if we're not, we're going to get dominated for most of the game. So I think coming into the series, probably playing as VP and having that experience in the back of their minds, it helps them realize like, okay, this is how we need to approach IG, and this is what we need to do.
Could just be a confidence thing, right? Because it was 29-1 in series favor of VP versus Team Spirit, and maybe that series was just enough for them to just be confident to make the moves that they need to make that you're talking about.
So I think that's the brand standings, okay? But I think for these players individually, because at the end of the day, like if you're on a brand, I mean, Liquid is one of the highest win rates at TI, but I don't feel that, right? So I think the players had never beaten VP in a series ever, this roster. So yeah, definitely there's a lot of confidence involved in that too. And we have a shocking start to the draft, Kaka Lion. For the first time on a TI
Just as shocking as the game 1 Kaka Lion. And they followed up with the Lina this time. The Lion Tide's nice because you have team fight mixed in with the single target disable of the Lion. But this case, they're going all in for the burst damage. And against a hero like Doom, you definitely need that because you're only going to have a few seconds to dish it all out before one of your crucial targets gets doomed.
I think Doom has felt like this hero that just, if you can get, I mean, obviously it's like a mini alchemist, right, where you just get this huge gold influx, but the Chinese teams seem to be the one that are favoring it more so, but we're seeing Team Spirit pick it up here kind of as it's almost like a semi-deny for the later stage of the draft.
I think the nice thing about Doom is it forces these teams that are playing 4+1s to kind of change up the way they play. However, it's not the kind of hero that I would have looked for here if I was Spirit. As I would have said, like, you want to keep playing with pace. You want to keep playing in a way which allows you to have control of the game, but they're kind of setting themselves up for a bit more like scaling situation, I feel like. And the Lina first phase, to me, it's a pretty worrying sign because I feel like this is IG basically saying we did not have a good hero for Emo. We're securing Emo early on, so we're going to pick him. Lina lanes well against everything, is always going to have its impact, and they want to make sure that Emo is like going to have the kind of game that they want him to.
Do they consider banning the Ember here? We saw it work really well against the Lina last series, and Toronto-Tokyo Ember right up his alley in terms of the immense amount of aggression.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I feel like they're kind of banning out the heroes that they feel like they're trying to set up Emo. It really feels like it for me. Like Mars is out, TA's out, Invoker's out. This is like just really, really focused on their star player. And that's usually what happens, right? In the pressure of these situations, I think as a drafter, you easily fall into this trap of like, who on my team is performing the best right now? Who can I like give this game to? And whose hands do I put it in? And while that is something that I think is quite common, I think sometimes it also hurts because you're then expecting more from a player that's already offering you so much, right?
They have a lot of experience against that kind of strategy. I mean, EG earlier in the year, that's literally all they did, right? They first two picked Abed's hero every single time. And we saw that kind of bite them in the ass against IG in that grand finals that they ended up reverse sweeping.
Yep.
Now, okay, it's kind of crazy. I know they're banning a lot of heroes here, but Lina has been played as support before. Not this tournament, though. The thing I love about Dota right now, and again, I'm not saying this is actually going to happen, but the fact that you can pick a mid hero early, they pick against it trying to counter you, and you just end up making it a support in some fashion.
Yeah, I think for some teams, like if it was VP doing this opener, I could see it happen. But just because it is Kaka and it is Lion, again, very shocking, but I really think he's going to be playing it.
The thing about Lina compared to these other flex picks is She has game counters, but she doesn't really have lane counters. So she pretty much always gets off to a good start, and there's very little reason to rotate her out of the mid lane because of that. And they go for the Disruptor. It does counter Lina in a sense that she's similar to like the Batriders and Leshraks, where they walk around really fast. And Disruptor's really good against these heroes until they get the BKB, because she relies on her positioning when she's farming in order to be safe around the map, whether or not that's just hitting neutrals or pushing out lanes. And Disruptor's one of the few heroes that will have the reach around minute 10 and to catch you.
Have you guys seen this? I'm sure you have, but the shard from Disruptor on Doom specifically is really good.
I actually don't think I've seen it.
I cast a couple games. I mean, you just put it on him, it gives him the speed boost, attack boost, and all that good stuff, and he just runs in.
Goes with Scorched Earth really well, too.
It's really strong on Doom.
I mean, the nice thing for Team Spirit right now is they already have like 3 really strong teamfight heroes, and they have Initiation, and they have like really good heroes as long as they're setting tempo and running at IG. So if I was drafting for IG, I'd be looking at some sort of way to set this game up where we can be running at them, where you don't have to like be at the mercy of Spirit setting pace control. So I think that's really what IG should be discussing right now. Like, what heroes here solve the issue that allow us to run at them rather than the other way around.
Earthshaker, third pick for IG. So likely to be the off lane here. Or, be the 4 as well, I guess.
I think this sets up really well for Team Spirit to pick like a Luna 4th. And I want IG to keep that in mind. Because whenever you pick Earthshaker off lane, which it most likely is, you don't want to pick a melee carry into it if you don't have to. The Enchant Totem in lane's really powerful. It's almost impossible to trade through the Aftershock. So with this pick right here, I wanted to kind of deal with these range carries.
Weaver.
That should be a carry Weaver.
5 Weaver?
We've definitely seen both.
Interesting, actually. Now they have some flexibility in their draft. This could definitely be a 5 Weaver.
I mean, to be fair, the Weavers that we've seen at this tournament so far, the support variation has been more successful than position 1.
That is true.
Mainly because of the Ags.
Do you like the Weaver into Disruptor?
No, I don't. That's why I was wondering if it's a core Weaver. It's the same idea as Lina, right? Any hero that relies on running away and utilizing high move speed in order to be elusive, Disruptor tends to be very good against you. And you also can't like time lapse off of his ult. You want to be able to purge it somehow. Just feels you have to itemize the BKB super early, and then you have to pop it just when you get glimpsed. Weaver doesn't like to have to use that much defensive tools just for one spell, especially coming from a support.
I could see this being like IG thinking potentially that, you know what, we want pace control. And Weaver does fit that concept, right? It's a hero that can play fast. And if you're running at the Disruptor, it's much easier to like hide out the Static Storm and play around it. I like this DK pick a lot, actually. Now they have a very easy setup against the Weaver. You have the Dragon Knight stun into Static Storm on pretty much any hero. Same thing with the Snapfire follow-up. I think this was a really, really good pick for Spirit. It kind of solves what their draft was lacking in terms of like, they needed something that can initiate. And Dragon Knight does super few heroes that can tank that harassment and kind of just sit through it and just farm and get his GPM going.
Very easy to execute draft from Team Spirit so far. I mean, I think pretty much everybody can just look at it and just envision what the plan is overall. But I think the downside is, well, depending on your perspective, there's not flexibility. You kind of know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Whereas IG, we're still not sure the positions here necessarily between the Earthshaker and Weaver. Could be all over the place.
I mean, I would still expect IG to run the Earthshaker offlane with the Lion, and most likely have Emo on the Lina. But then whether the Weaver is a 5 or a 1, I feel like still kind of remains to be seen. Has Yatoro, by the way, played the same hero twice yet? Do we know that?
No, he has not.
So PA was also a new hero, right?
Yeah, throughout the main event, yes.
So he can't play PA, he can't play Morph. I know he's played Chaos Knight.
Yeah, he's running out of hero pool because he can't do all the heroes he's
Has he
played
played
so far.
Sven?
Not sure.
Yeah, it might be a Sven.
Faceless Void comes to mind here.
Yep.
Against the Weaver with the Disruptor, Snapfire. You have like pretty good frontliners. Saw something similar, I believe, out of VG yesterday. Like a similar looking draft.
Yeah, and so the idea with the Void against Weaver is that you have both time dilation to make sure you can't Tsukuchi around and the Chronosphere to just fully lock him down. So even without the Chrono, you still have a really, really nice spell against the Weaver.
But if it's a support Weaver, then it could be the other way around with
exactly
whoever he Chronos. But we have seen, who was that? I think it was LGD playing against that, and Chronosphere just really well placed where the range from the time-lapse wasn't nearly there. He needs like Aetherlens on top of Ags, which is hard to come by on a support Weaver.
You also know by that point, because they do have 10th pick overall in Team Spirit, that's the one comfort you have. when you see these type of flex heroes. By then, you should almost always know what role he will be going to. Because they don't have overall last pick, I'm not surprised if this Weaver's a 1. I'm just mostly surprised they picked it into Disruptor. The Ags is better.
They banned PA. Would you guys actually expect another PA without an IO?
It's a nice hero against Weaver as well.
Yeah. So you have the evasion, right? So you don't really take the Gemini damage the same way a lot of other heroes do. And because you have the chance of just one-shotting Weaver in a crit, as soon as you blink on him, he has to run away. He can never stand his ground against you.
Team Spirit are the ones to get rid of Luna, so IG.
They go for the Void.
Okay.
All right.
So
Another
support
hero
Weaver.
that's not so great against Disruptor Doom. But maybe with the support Weaver behind, it's a bit better.
But very interesting. I don't really see like IG's identity in this draft.
I
And I think
either.
that's something that, for me, is a bit surprising. It feels like they're trying to play some like late game draft, but ultimately, I feel like when they looked at their best, is like Kaka gets a blink dagger, and then you have the heroes to follow up and chase and like put the pressure on, while Fly really like farms up, and then comes in and closes out the game for you.
Usually when I see a Faceless Void, I think Wraith King, but Team Spirit are the ones that banned that earlier.
Yeah.
For their position 1 here.
There's a lot of carries that are taken out of the pool. I was thinking Bloodseeker before I saw the Void, but...
Drow Ranger,
Oh.
okay.
I like that pick a lot.
They
I've
have
seen
a
Drow
lot of
DK.
sounds.
It didn't work out. It was against Medusa early on in the tournament, but Faceless Void specifically hates dealing with Drow. She represents low cooldown push potential in tandem with the DK. Faceless Void with Chronosphere long cooldowns. I think it should lane really well against the Earthshaker. I agree with you, Insania. I didn't feel where they're going with this on IG's draft. The Weaver Void has weird synergy. The bugs die immediately in the Chrono. First time we're not seeing Kaka on Lion.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for me, that's the most shocking thing, right? I feel like that's been his hero for this entire tournament, so... I'm not sure. I don't think their draft is bad per se, but it doesn't really scream IG at me. So I feel like just it feels like Spirit's playing comfort, and IG's kind of been thrown off their game. So I would say Spirit has the edge going into this one.
They have a ton of stuns, though, on IG. So it really is going to come down to whether or not Doom starts the fights. Because Drow, if he's allowed to be in the back pelting people, they should have no problem having the damage output. But without the Drow hitting continuously, I don't think they have very good sustained damage on Team Spirit.
I wonder if this is Yataro's first time playing Drow at this event, because do you think there's any way that they're going off of the all-hero challenge for him? There's no way with the stakes this high, but my goodness, that's really impressive that he's able to find so many different heroes to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the reason that Collapse can shine the way he can is because Yatoro can play so many heroes. He's able to shift into that like 3 position if he has to. He can play more of a 1. He seems to have mastered both playing fast and slow from the 1 position, which is a very, very rare thing to have in a carry, and I think it's enabling Collapse to look as good as he does throughout this tournament.
That is the end of the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Frankie is standing by with Super of IG. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank you very much. Super, I'd love to know, did you have to revisit the game plan after that disappointment in game 1?
第一把之后，第二把有没有需要做出哪些战术上的调整？
我觉得就是第一盘发育到后期我们是比较弱的，所以这一盘我们在阵容硬度上做了调整。
I realized that in game 1 our late game was a little weak, so in game 2 we made those adjustments.
谢谢. Thank you so much, Super. Good luck with this match. Let's head over to Aoi and OD Pixel to get game number 2 underway.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Yes, game 2, ladies and gentlemen, between Team Spirit and IG. AY, what are you looking forward to seeing this game? Because we're seeing some fun drafts, I feel.
No, I feel like this is a draft type that we actually haven't seen at this TI. I mean, we saw Drow DK before, but Drow primarily this tournament has been pretty sparingly picked. I feel like his silence is actually the real game breaker in this game. I think it's good versus all 5 heroes. And we see, ooh, they saw each other ward here. Might be a double D ward coming out from both teams on the mid lane.
We'll see if they leave it up or if they take it back down themselves.
Yeah, it's a funny thing here because you don't know whether you want to deny your ward.
Yeah.
You don't know whether, like, after you kill your opponent's ward here, you sort of want to deny your own ward, but it's so far in. I think a lot of this game will come down to how Yatoro, Fly, is able to come into mid with his Chronosphere. One of the strengths of Faceless Void is that as level 6, his TP jump into Chronosphere can lead to a kill on almost any core. DK is tanky, but Lina deals a lot of damage. Or you can even go to the Drow's lane. A lot of this game will come down to these carry rotations. It's like not your stereotypical carry game, I feel. Like, even Drow, she can move to Void Lane and kill him. You know, sync up with that Doom. They have a lot of play options this game.
Absolutely. I don't think it's going to be easy for Fly at all. Lots of threats that are going to trip up the Faceless Void if he's not too cautious. But if IG do land those big ults, they've certainly got quite the team fight around them. And of course, an incredible amount of burst with the Laguna and the Finger. The pickoffs are certainly going to be capable from IG's heroes.
What's happening with the supports here? So Lion is actually hiding in bottom. They're trying to sort of sneak in a kill onto the Drow. This is actually a really good plan whenever you have Earthshaker. Because you're able to fissure block your lane so far back, the lane equilibrium is messed up, and Drow has to come up much further. You see Yatoro, he started blocking early, but the lane is still going to start in a pretty good position for IG here.
Sure. But with it, do you think if you're Spirit now, are you aware that Ollie's missing? You're like, this Lion is probably down here.
I think they are, because they got the better block. You can see Yatoro, he's staying back.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Yatoro's play this tournament has just been so amazing. He's a top ranked carry right now, I believe, but they still got him.
And they have trapped him in with a fishy. Yatoro, he's trying to run, but they have found him. No escape.
I really like this coming off from IG. I feel like in game 1, they sort of lacked this creativity to go for kills. I mean, that game, they had the Diffusal Blade, they had the Aegis, but they didn't find a way to push the tempo. This game, I think they want to set a faster pace. They want to scale into late game with this Lina, with this Faceless Void. But I want to see them do it right, you know, set up these kills and play the IG Dota that we saw them dominate the group stage with.
Absolutely. We know that they have so much more in them than they showed in the first game of the series.
Mira with 3 creep denies in the top lane, 2 of them on range creeps. He's just, I mean, these CS matter. When you have these supports at this level, how they CS is actually really important.
Sort of overall, now that Ollie has returned to the top, I mean, how is this sort of laning stage for the Drow? Now it's just 2 heroes you're dealing with, the Weaver and the Shaker. How much can they mess with your farm here? Who has the easier time?
Well, they're going on to the Disruptor here, and I think this is kill onto Mahoshka.
I think it certainly is with the bugs on him. I mean, well, there we have it. It's showing us that kills are rather easy for these two to achieve, especially on Maposhka if he's a little out of position and a good fisher finds him.
Yeah, and Kaka, he's already dropped the sentry in lane. He has another sentry in his inventory. He really wants to fight for his vision control. This lane, a lot of it comes down to the lane equilibrium. IG, the reason why Kaka bought so many sentries, not only for the Sakuchi, but he secured this hard camp. Whenever you pull this hard camp, it doesn't matter if they pull back, you will normally get the lane equilibrium. And we can see, as soon as you have that equilibrium, Drow, she's sort of like a pathetic carry hero, you know? Like, she's very weak in the early stages. Yeah. You can go on her, and with a Fission and Bugs, she's a pretty easy kill.
We're certainly seeing the slow start. Just 4 CS right now in Yatora in the safe lane. It's not having an easy time.
Honestly, both cores at bottom lane, like Earthshaker only has 6 CS as well. He does have that kill though, so that's making up for that.
Meanwhile, on the other half of the map, both cores farming just fine. Fly is doing absolutely okay in the CS, and Collapse also.
Yeah, I think both cores on the top lane will pretty much just farm. There's not that much kill threat here, which I think generally Doom is pretty happy with.
See bottom lane. Maposhka is able to just get the bug off him in time, so Kaka won't be able to go any further onto him. He's trying to do his best here. Maposhka to draw attention away from the Drow. Give Yatoro space to hit the creeps, but it's still proving to be very difficult in that bottom lane to secure a safe space for this Drow in the laning stage.
And this is all because of that level 1 play from Lion, I feel. It's always interesting in Dota, like just these one small adjustments you can make from the draft. I think if they just lane head to head, Drow, Disruptor, they're going to hit the Earthshaker a lot. He's not going to have that good a lane. One gank, and all of a sudden, he's having a really good lane, and Yatoro's being pressured.
Money to burn.
Kaka still doing his best to trade with Maposhka. See how the regen's going between these two. We've got Mango and a salve on Kaka still to play with. Still 3 Mangoes on Maposhka, so Maposhka very much ready to keep the spam going. Is close to level 3 as well, and then the trading will be a little more effective for the Disruptor in the lane.
I do like what Emo is doing here. He actually snuck the enemy's Bantrun and then brought an early ward to place into the enemy's triangle. He understands that because of how bottom lane is going, Drow is most likely going to have to retreat to his triangle. This ward gives him a gank option on him later.
Got even CS mid. It's been a close one. Of course, we'll see if there's going to be opportunity to push in onto that tier 1 mid once the Dragon forms up.
Another
bottom lane.
block.
That's a very nice block of Yatoro. He's trying to get away from the turn, but in with the enchant tournament, he's back underneath the tower. He'll turn, but he will not survive here. Kaka and JT getting away with it again. Mapochka trying to find one of the two of them. In fact, JT, he's actually going to step back in range of the Thunderstrike, so JT does go down. I mean, Mapochka, can he get Kaka as well? He can't. Kaka, salve the ready, into the trees, he'll live. There's something to be found there for Spirit, but of course still, the struggle is real for Yatoro.
Yeah, good trade out from Mapochka there at the end, but I mean, Yatoro, he has 12 CS right now. That's the same as Earthshaker's denies. Whenever this situation happens in Dota, I think it's important your communication, that you basically tell your team, like, I'm having a bad game, I need some time to catch up, and we're actually going to have to see, like, Collapse on the Doom and Toronto Tokyo and the DK join up in order to make some sort of space. You do have that DK Forma mid and a wagon, so I'd like to see Team Spirit try to do something with this timing, at least maybe force some pressure away from Yatoro so he has a little bit of space in the game.
Yeah, we're getting some early poke damage here from Toronto Tokyo. Dragon Form is hit. Getting the lane shoved right in. Emo pretty low on the regen, just one tango to bite through. A few seconds and the rune will be up. He's going to hope for it down bottom, and he's not going to get lucky. DD rune at the top. Toronto Tokyo is going to be able to get that for himself.
Radiant structures are fortified.
This pressure will continue mid. Top lane Fly. A little bit low. Still the farm very solid for him. He's having a fine time top. Mid lane, they've got the setup with the stun. Light strike to follow, into the Hex. Have they got enough right click to take him down? They do, only just, but they're able to do it.
And Mirror, his spells were on cooldown. He had previously used them on the kill attempt on Fly, so he TVs in mid, but he's not able to save his Dragon Knight, and just a completely different IG than we saw in game 1. Honestly, I think they were upset that they were a bit passive in the early game, and they're really showing the team they are now.
Top lane Fly nearly getting taken out there by Collapse with that Alpha Wolf crit. He's got to be careful there, that's a hard-hitting Doom.
I like this from Emo. He's rotating